go ahead and call the meeting to order. Would you like to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Okay.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Derek Walter did come in today and ask if he could get on the agenda, so I put him down for 10:15.
Did you hear that? Don said Derek Walter plans to come in at 10:15 on the agenda. Alexis?
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, we need to hear from him anyhow.
Okay. And there is some mail. Alexis, do you want me to go over that?
Please do.
We just had a few, well, we have this changed contract with Wendell Solder for modifying the acreage for that he farms at the landfill up there. And
Did you agree to that?
yeah, well, it shows an exhibit A of where it just modified the acreage and shows a map of, I think we took 5 acres back approximately or something. And Jim looked at it and I looked at it. I think that looks fine to me. Have you get the chance to look at it?
Yes, I mean, I remember
4.5 acres. 4.5
it
acres.
just get finalized and he was going to get it signed.
Yeah, Wendell signed it already, and I've reviewed it. Do you have, you want us to approve that now, or do you want to review it in person, or?
No, I think you guys have a handle on it, so we just need a motion to sign it.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the amended lease agreement with Wendell Solder for his farmland up at the landfill area, and the legal description up there is, if I can get it here. It's the northeast quarter of the northeast quarter in section 34, township 11 and range 8 in Lincoln County, Kansas, except land in the north end on the west side of existing cells 1 and 2 for a total of 30.25 acres. And then there's a map designating it on the back. So I make a motion to approve this amended lease.
And to sign it as well.
Yeah, we'll have to re-sign it. Do you want to sign it when you get here later Monday next week, Alexis, or do you want me to, or Jim, or what?
I think you can sign it as the, you were newly appointed as the
Vice.
vice chair, so I think you can sign it.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to know what you want to do.
I second that then.
Jim just
Okay, it's
seconded
been
it.
moved and seconded to approve the new amended agreement. Are there any further questions? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And Don, do you want me to sign this right here, this lease? Okay. You can sign there again. Okay, we've signed it here, and I'll give it back to Don. We had a few other, little bit of mail, Alexis, for, we had a bill from Lincoln Building Supply for the Lincoln Park Manor. It says an Ivory 28, I don't know what it is. Doesn't really say. It's a 45, two of them, $45.98 for, I don't know what it is. Ivory 20 amp, maybe it's looks like it's the electrical receptor. I think it's a 20 amp receptors. I'm not sure though. They give you all these weird descriptions. It doesn't define it very well. And then also we had a bill from Phoenix Air Supply for wood electric seat exchanger hinge. So it's a hinge, that's $17.07 for Lincoln Park Manor also.
Those sound like issues the building, so we should just, you could sign those.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Should we ask for a motion to approve?
No, unless there's an objection, I think you can sign them.
Should I just sign them on the bottom, or is that what you do?
Yep, I always just initial at the bottom.
Okay. All right, I did that, and then that's it really for mail. Don passed us out these, we do have some more mail here for a letter to the Dane Hansen Foundation. Board of Commissioners wishes to submit this letter to support the North Central Flint Hills Area Aging grant application to replace the HVAC system in their main office. So we got a grant request here to Dane Hansen for helping to replace their HVAC system in the main office here.
Yes, I read that email that Dawn sent, and Dawn, you did a nice job putting that letter together. I guess I'm a little concerned because they didn't come to us in person. They just basically, by mail, requested that we endorse them for a grant. And I was under the impression that that's the reason why we pay yearly dues, is for them to appropriately manage their budget. And I don't understand why their budget wouldn't include repairs and maintenance for their own facility. It seems to me like a lot of these organizations keep upping their funding and creating new jobs for people, and then they let their infrastructure fall apart, so then they say, oh, please help, we don't have a heating system anymore. I'm getting a little tired of that, but that's me personally.
So I guess, I'm just reading it over here. I guess they want our support to apply for a grant, the Flint Hills Area on Aging, to fix what's the HVAC here at our Lincoln Senior Center. Where
The one down in Manhattan, as I understand it.
well, why would
Home office,
that's
I
not
believe.
our responsibility. Why are
Well, and I know
You,
they're
Cindy,
just
you don't
asking
have
us
any
for
input
letters
on
of
that?
support, but
They give services to Lincoln County, that's just an endorsement for
Yeah.
them to apply for a grant
oh
that they
That's-
pay for.
it's just an endorsement that we
No
support.
money that you pay.
It's just a support that we show to support on their grant
Grants
application.
have to have so many people that are affected by that.
I know, I'm just saying they're asking us to support them, asking for donations when they're already a government-funded entity. I'm personally against that, but you guys can surely make a motion to approve that and sign it.
We don't know about the donations.
It's really not a donation. It's just a grant from Dane Hansen, Alexis.
But I'm saying Dane Hansen is privately funded.
Right. Well, they are
So they're
private, yeah.
asking private money to pay for a heating and cooling system inside of a building that is government funded. I mean, it happens. I know.
Well, and I guess all they're wanting from us is some moral support primarily, that we support that, and hopefully that would give them a little more ammunition to get a grant, I guess.
18
Right,
days of
right.
years.
That's exactly
We just wanna be-
right.
What do you think, Jim? You have any input on this?
Yeah, there are no incorrect or unsupported statements in that letter, as far as I can tell. And
And
if they can get a grant, I say good for them. I support it.
they provided that letter, I just put it on your letter.
Right.
So,
Oh, okay.
don't anybody think.
Well, and I
wrote
kind of,
that. 'Cause
and I agree with Jim here. I know, Alexis, I understand what you're saying too, that they're, wanting to get private money for public use, but
What I'm saying is they presented us their budget this year. They asked for the same dollar amount as they requested last year. All of these counties give money to them every year, and I would like to say, why don't you have enough funding to support your own infrastructure when you get funding every year? That's all I'm saying. I'm certainly going to go along with the board if you want to support the letter.
okay.
These are the kind of questions that the commission needs to ask when they present their budget then, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes your heating and cooling things go out and you are unprepared for a budget that you've always had the same amount on. That's all I can say.
Did you
Right,
hear?
but I understand what you're saying, Cindy, but I'm unaware of the county asking Dane
But they do
Hansen
have a budget
paint
for it.
the courthouse. We're gonna have to do that with outside grant money, and, I mean, it's the same concept, I guess, but we should be prepared for those things.
I think Kelly Larson was in here and said that she wanted your approval to ask for a Dane Hansen grant. So I guess that would be the same thing.
Yeah, but Delhi Larson's part of our county operation. North Central Flint Hills, Kansas ain't.
Is it gonna,
Isn't.
is the Flint Hills Area Agency main location even gonna qualify, because it's in Riley County, isn't it?
Yeah, they're,
In
It's
Now,
not-
Manhattan.
doesn't Dane
Manhattan.
Hansen have to be Post Rock County?
It's- That's probably why they're asking for a letter of support.
Yeah, they're asking for everybody that they affect to support,
Yeah,
asking for a grant.
they think that'll help give them some ammunition with Dane Hansen
Every grant, you have to get some.
supporters, yeah.
Letters of support.
I'm not against it, Jim, you
I
wanna
support
make a
it.
motion?
And I don't
I
think it
move that we
matters.
sign the letter and send it on.
Jim moved to sign a letter and send it on, Alexis, I guess I'll second that.
Okay, so it has been moved and seconded to sign the support letter for North Central Flint Hills Area Agency on Aging, their grant request to Dane Hansen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Do we need to initial this too, or whatever,
Sign it.
on the
You go
back?
ahead and sign
Just
it.
one copy, yeah.
I'll just, Jim and I sign it?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, and we have another letter, with the Kansas Department for Aging and Disability Services. That's,
This would be what I drafted
This is what-
according to our motion at the last meeting when I said that I believe we should contact the department and,
yeah, and ask them about the, license issue, right?
did you guys get a chance to read it? or do
No,
you
I
wanna
just
read
got it, I
aloud?
just got it here now. Let me glance through it quick here. Did you read this, Jim?
Yep.
Do you have any? I've read it now, Alexis, I think it's pretty good about what we've been talking about.
Well, I'm not sure. It says our, first and foremost, our main goal is to acquire the license. Well, I don't think that's our main goal. Our main goal is to ensure that the nursing home stays open. And I'm not sure that the county ought to be in the business of competing with private enterprise running nursing homes. I think we would dearly love to have Laura or somebody from the state agency service to come down and talk to us, but there's a lot more we need to talk to them about than that license. I don't know if we can get the license if we want the license. There may be a lot of other issues we need to discuss first with them.
Okay, as far as this particular issue is concerned and all the money and time we have spent with Mr. Hay, we had hired him to do exactly what this letter says, which is discuss with the government entity how we go about obtaining. If you read it, I said, can we get a new license? Can we be added on to the current license? You know, and I explained the change of ownership paperwork issue in there. As far as choosing to engage with another tenant, that has nothing to do with the KDAD department. The only thing that they have control over is the license. The Secretary of KDAD cannot tell us who we rent to, how we rent, what we charge, anything like that. It only has to do with the licensing of the building. So when I stated our first and foremost goal, that's not for me to state that to the public. That's me stating it to the Secretary of KDAD. What is our goal with her? Because she only has so many roles she can play in our scenario.
Well, if she issues a license, does that solve our problem, or is that just the first step in solving our problem?
Well, I think it would help solve it.
Completely.
Go ahead, Alexis, I'm sorry.
In my opinion, that solves our problem completely, because if we had been forward thinking enough a few years ago to get on the license when we allowed the new tenant to rent from us, we wouldn't have the issues we have today. Because the only reason why this tenant can ask us for money is because the threat is that when the license leaves, the facility closes. But if the license stays, many other counties were aware enough to have their names on the license. And so when they bring in these temporary management companies, they don't have to worry about the license coming and going. So if and when we can own the license or have ownership in it, that takes away the risk of any management firm or tenant, such as Grace Team right now, that takes away their ability to basically hold it hostage is how I feel the situation has turned out.
And I agree, we've talked about a lot this, Jim, and I agree with Alexis on this because the license is everything right now because like she said, if we did have that license, we could let the lease run, we could get us, right now we could plan on just getting a new administrator possibly, and then we wouldn't worry about the current tenant because we have the license for operation. And he has that now, and that you gotta have that to operate that nursing home. That's the bottom line here.
But if we acquire the license, then we are de facto the nonprofit board that's running the nursing home. We, the 3 county commissioners.
That's not true.
Who would hire the new administrator?
Well, we would.
And who would tell the new administrator what to do?
Well, we could get a board, we could, like the hospital board, we could appoint a nursing home board, so we don't have to micromanage it as commissioners. But the thing is, Alexis has a good point. We have control then. One of the fears is, Jim, if we get a private company with a private license, that may be okay, but we're out from under all this. But if they don't make any money, they say we're gonna close it down next year, or about 3 years from now, we can have no say then over it, and and we don't wanna see it close. I don't wanna see it close.
But do you want to guarantee that it stays open as a county commission? It may not be a viable nursing home.
Well, that's true. Based on.
Okay, I can agree with your statement, Mr. Gableman, but I would just like to point out that this particular letter, the only thing I would like to address right now is, Madam Secretary, are you able to do something about the license? And like I said, I don't think that the KDAD's role is to come in and tell us how to run our nursing home, if it's viable, what the business situation is. It's only the licensure issue. And our main concern is, can we be grandfathered in with these narrow hallways, et cetera, because our building was built in the 1960s? I mean, they have all these new regulations by which we cannot abide. Are we able to continue under a different license, or will they go ahead and change the license? And if you notice, I mentioned in there the word financial insolvency, because that is the buzzword as far as they're concerned when they must step in to salvage a nursing home. As far as the future of it, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I think that's a discussion for us in our county. That's not a discussion for us with the Department of Aging and Disabilities.
All that I understand, and I agree that we can send this letter forward, but we really, really need to have us a meeting here in the very near future about that nursing home and decide some policy and plans.
Didn't we set aside an entire afternoon, Dawn? Didn't we set that aside for the first week in August?
Yes.
Okay.
So we already have that on the schedule, not next week, but one more week after that, which would be great. We could potentially hear back in the meantime if we can send this letter forward today.
Well, I move we sign and send the letter today.
And I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the letter to the Secretary of KDAD? All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
And that then is all we have for right now here. There's Derek. Derek's outside. Maybe we can. Well, you're gonna him for later. That's all the mail we have and the letters we have. I know we need to sign this, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have about 20 after. Was Derek going to come in at 10:15? Is that?
Did you have the other letter?
I don't know, we can,
Yeah.
maybe we'll get him in here, maybe we
To
won't.
Dane Hanson.
There. Well, Derek's here right now. I don't know if we can. What our agenda? Who do we have coming up here? We don't have any.
We're open till 10:45.
Yeah, 10:45. Highway Department. Derek's here. Do you want to go ahead with him, Alexis?
Please.
Yeah, Derek.
Alright, hey guys.
Hi.
Pretty much what I gotta discuss today is probably, executive. I got a contract that we need to discuss on dollars and an employee.
Employee issue. Derek.
Not real issue.
Oh, just employee matter. Did you hear Derek wants to go in executive session because of employee matter and contract?
I think it might be proper to separate them, so let's do the contract first. How
Perfect.
much time do you think you would need for that?
Not very long. 5
So
to 7
5 minutes?
minutes max.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion just to discuss the contract for the EMS medical consultant.
In open session.
Well, it wouldn't be open session if we're going to talk and determine a number. It would be, oh, Mr. Lemon, if you would look at the list there.
Oh, yeah.
The,
Okay.
negotiating.
Yeah, yeah, well, to discuss personal matters with non-elected personnel?
No, that will be the second issue that he wanted to talk about within the department. I'm talking about just the contract.
Okay,
It
to
would be
discuss
down
data
for-
relating to financial affairs or trade secrets of corporation partnerships, trusts, and,
No.
no?
Is that number 3?
Um,
I don't have my list.
I don't have my list in
yeah, I
front of me.
know, and I don't have a law license here to figure all that out.
I think you did employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representative or representatives of the public body or agency before.
That sounds correct. I would entertain a motion to go in under that justification.
Okay, and justification pursuant to that KSA 754319B, and that would be number, 4?
3,
3.
I think.
Okay, and to reconvene right in the courthouse, except you're not here, but you will reconvene in the courthouse in the commissioner's room. I'll second that.
Did you have a motion?
Did you make a motion, Alexis? Yeah, Alexis.
I move to recess into executive session for 5 minutes for the purpose of discussing the medical consultant contract with our EMS department pursuant to KSA 754319 2B number 3 to reconvene in the commission room with the commission, the clerk, and the department head, Mr. Walter.
Now I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? If not, those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Well,
Well, I would say even beyond that, I think, you need to shop around just
Okay.
and see what is.
Were you talking? Yeah, but do we need a motion on this or just instruct?
No, we're just instructing him.
Go to, yeah.
He brought us.
Aces,
He brought
guys.
us a potential
Find one, the
contract.
best one you want.
call me when I get back down.
I will too.
Get you in touch with.
Thank you. I appreciate it a million.
Yeah, he needs something to do anyway.
Okay? Works.
Okay.
Okay, hey,
Now
that's
we-
all I need, folks.
Well, we got the other issue, you got another issue,
Yeah,
right?
this
You
is
guys
with-
can come in and we're done.
Yeah, this is with respect to merit increases. Shiloh's due for a merit increase. She's one that was in there.
Well, that's executive session stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
Talking about her.
If we're going to talk about, we can talk about money in open session, but if we're going to talk about anything that's related to evaluations and how that reflects on any particular employee, then we do need a separate executive session.
Well, Derek's talking about an
Yeah,
employee.
it kinda does.
a specific
So that's
employee
it.
down
Let's
there,
add that on for
And so
5.
then I believe we need to have a motion put
Yeah.
on the table for separate executive session.
I'll move to go in executive session for 5 minutes for the purpose of discussing merit increases for a non-elected employee. And justification is pursuant to KSA 754319 number 1 to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. To be, for 5 minutes, to reconvene in a court commissioner's room in the courthouse when finished.
With the commission.
Sorry.
With the commission and the director of EMS and the county clerk.
I'll second that. It has been moved and seconded to enter into a 5-minute executive session for merit discussion.
Get you some exercise.
Patience. Are there any questions? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Could you tell me what the reason was again, because somebody was talking?
It's, to discuss personnel of the EMS, merit increase, of a person, non-elected personnel, individual in person. And I don't know if that should be executive session or not.
It is if we're talking about job performance or anything like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And if it was just talking about the numbers, changing numbers, then that would not be. But as far as talking about anything that's reflecting on the evaluation, that would be executive session.
All right, well, we're in one now.
Okay, yeah, so I've got time until she says it.
Time is,
Did you guys?
5 minutes.
Or did you vote?
No, we gotta vote on it.
I thought we all.
We did, motion carries.
Oh, moving it, coming in here at, 10:45.
We never did
Yes.
the minutes yet.
Oh,
Pending the.
we got the
board
minutes.
meeting
Yeah, we review the minutes. I guess we could approve them, huh?
I vote that we, accept the minutes for the 15th of July as written.
You mean the 18th?
No, 15th.
Oh,
You got
Oh, yeah.
2 sets. Yeah,
oh, 3 sets?
2, 15 and 18 you got.
I got 25 and, oh, that's, oh,
You should, down at the bottom.
no, I got the 15th. You're right. I'm sorry, Jim.
Okay.
My eyes, I need my glasses on here.
Yeah, I move we accept the
I've
15th.
been known to make errors, but not quite that much.
Sorry, Don. Okay, and I'll second it. Alexis, Jim made a motion to approve the minutes, July 15th.
Okay, those in favor vote aye.
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 And I'll make a
Motion carries.
On the 18th, I have a change.
Yeah, okay, Jim's got a
I
change.
make a motion that we approve the minutes of the 18th with a change. We went to the highway department and convened a meeting over there, and the purpose was to direct Miss Lee that she assumed temporary management of the highway department until such time as Mike gets back, O'Hare. And I think that probably ought to be reflected in the minutes that she is a temporary leader over there.
She already is by their job descriptions
Okay.
in
All right?
their current hierarchy, but if you want,
Well, if that's
Stress
already
it.
covered, then we're all right. I just want to make sure that she had a valid reason for being in charge.
Well, I think it says right there, to meet with Sherry Lee regarding managing the highway department in the absence of the director of public works. And I think that's what she meant in that sentence.
Okay. If that's good enough, I'm all right with it, and I approve them as written. I make a motion we approve them as written.
I'll second.
Okay, it has been motioned and seconded to approve the minutes from July 18th. Any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And I have, is the highway department there yet?
No,
Okay, I have one thing I wanted to bring up. Dawn, did you receive the email about the breakdown of the other counties and their health insurance plans? Did you?
potentially,
Okay, I'm looking for mine right now.
what, did it come from another clerk or?
Yes, another clerk sent me a copy of it, and it must have gone out. I think it's called the Health Insurance Survey.
There was a survey that was going around, but
The 19th.
you have to realize that when 105 counties reply to an email, sometimes I don't look at all 105 responses. So,
No, I understand. I don't know who sent it to her.
well, there was a county that was compiling them, and I think I saved that email, but I haven't looked at it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and forward it to you, and you can send it to the other commissioners.
Okay.
Because basically, I just wanted you, Mr. Lohman and Mr. Gableman, to see the breakdown as we discuss these employee management benefit companies, because it kind of gives you an idea of where some of these other counties are.
Okay.
On what they're charging their employees.
Yes, it's the cost sharing breakdown and what their plans cost. And it's very good information. There's a lot there to look at, but I think as we discuss PIC, which is the company that you guys motioned for last meeting. Dawn, did you happen to send her an email with our questions?
I did, and she called this morning and said she'd have a response late this morning, but I haven't seen it before I come down.
Okay.
So you're gonna email us information, Alexis, about all this stuff, so we can review it? And-
On the spreadsheet, I'm just going to go across. It has the county, the employee plan, the employee spouse.
Okay,
Goes into the employee cost, which would be their portion of the total dollar amount. And I'm just going to pull off the top. Allen County, for a single employee, their plan is $150, and their employee pays $50 of it. But then when you jump over to their spouse plan, they only pay, it looks like the county only pays a small portion of that, so they're responsible for the majority of their other plans. So anyway, it just gives that spread across the whole cell report so that you can see what's offered and how much they pay, and it goes by county. So there are some missing counties, but it just gives you a lot of the information to look at.
all right, sounds good. And one issue, I know we kind of, I guess we approved PIC last Thursday, but I think they'd be fine, except we had a lot more information with the hub guy, and I know we gave them more of our data so they could give us, you know, example quotes. One thing with PIC, she didn't hardly have any cost information directly to us on what it's gonna cost us and stuff, and that's, I didn't like that, but I think they'd probably be okay. It's just, what happens if she comes in at 10% higher on everything on premiums, and I would, you know, not that she will, I'm just concerned about that.
Do you remember any of the counties that she had? I would be interested to look at this spreadsheet here quickly and just see.
Well, she has on the back of this handout, she has, I think, lists of the counties and the businesses that she's.
Could you read off a couple?
Well, let me see if I can find it here. I've got all this paper.
Back to this one, I think. She has Sherman, Edwards for 2 for sure.
Okay, I don't have any Edwards information. I'm gonna look at Sherman.
Sherman is Larry Enfield.
Yeah, that Enfield, who is we dealt with on the Wilson Lake stuff.
Okay, I have their information here.
Sherman County is Micah Schnoebelen, Schnoebelen, and her phone number 620-923-5103. That's Edwards County.
Well, it seems like Sherman County's numbers are very low as far as the portion. They're only paying $639 for a family plan. Were they the self? I wonder if they were the self-insured.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's just it. You don't know if it's self or full insure or partial or what.
And that one says they pay 100% of all the costs for all tiers.
It does say that because it says the employee cost is $0, the dental's included, and the family plan is only $639, and the individual plan is only $264.
I would almost say they're at least partially self-funded
Partially.
at that price.
Okay. Hey, we have the highway department guys out here. Do we want to go to them now?
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll instruct them to come in. Yeah, we can discuss this healthcare.
Yeah, and you'll see the
Stuff later.
spreadsheet. Dawn's going to forward it to you, and I just sent it to her, and it just shows you a breakdown. So that'll be helpful when we have this next conversation about it.
Okay, Alexis, thanks for sending that.
Yep.
We'll have some of the highway department people come in. Come on in. Hi.
Hello. Hello. Hot in here.
Yeah, we can turn the AC on, but then I can't hear her.
Sure.
Well, at least for now.
Do you have the fan on in the window?
No, I'll turn it on. We need you here to run this, bro. All right, we have Alexis is on phone here, you guys. And we have Liz, then we also have, with Tanner's here, you know, it's Emmett, and I'm not sure I know your name.
Greg Nye.
Greg Knight, and then we have Colton Panzer from the Highway Department. And do one of you guys be a spokesman here, Liz, or whatever? What's going on?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
They, Emmett has some things he would kind of like to say on behalf of the highway department.
Okay. All right.
They've elected me to be their speaker.
Okay.
So, we just wanted to talk to you guys about several issues. First one is the 10-hour days, okay? We're talking about, you know, we want to keep them for several reasons. One of them is it takes almost an hour to get to our farthest reaches for the blade men to get there, and then you can get a lot more done in 8 hours than you can in 6, okay? And then with our Fridays open, we can get appointments since we don't have actual sick leave. And it also allows for a second job for most employees because of the wages. Saves gas for employees coming in for the driving distances that they've got. Also, I think I've discussed this with you, Randy, it's a perk of our job because our wages are below state average on county employees. I know one of the things was one of the concerns was the phone calls coming to the courthouse. You know, those could be forwarded to a cell phone, or we could get an answering machine. You know, with the rain days on the 10-hour days, they can be utilized for maintaining the equipment. And this year's been an exception for rainfall.
Yeah.
We all know that. You know, it happens every 10 years. So that's our concerns on the 10-hour days.
Well, I don't think we plan on changing them right now. It's just that a couple months ago when it rained, it seemed like it rained Monday or Tuesday, and then you guys couldn't blade or haul rock or whatever. And then about Friday, Saturday is beautiful weather, and you guys are off. So and that's where we're going. Jiminy, we have all this work to do because of all this bad weather. And the time we need you guys, you're off. And then when you're working, of course, I know you can't. It ain't your fault the weather's that way it is.
Yeah.
And that's why we only had a concern with that. And I'm not against 10-hour days, especially now since you've agreed to do some overtime.
Yeah.
If you can, on Friday, Saturday, if we need to.
Yeah.
So I'm not against that really. I mean, I talked about it because of that issue I just pointed out because it seemed like when you guys were gone off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we'd have beautiful weather and nobody's out there. Yeah. And also on a Friday, I don't know, maybe for Liz or for management, we would almost want to, not you regular workers, but for management or like you, we would almost want somebody there on Friday because people are calling, the public's calling, and nobody there to answer because you're all off.
Although I'll address that. I had specifically asked, and Dawn and I had a visit one day, a brief visit about that. Yeah. And I asked her, I said, has that been happening as of recent? I think it happened at some other times, but because anything, if she had been getting a call or whatever, not one person has ever called back on a Monday to say that they had called on a Friday. Not one.
Okay, well.
And I mean, I'm just stating that, you know, we've not had anybody call back.
And I'm not.
And I think they're used to the hours, but when he's done, I want to go back and address that because I've kind of been mulling something over in my mind, and I don't know if it'll work, but which would be kind of neat in a way, but we'll go back to that.
What about that? Talking about
just
the management,
the Fridays or what have you.
Well, I could see, say, a manager, a supervisor could still be coming in on a Friday because a lot of times Michael was complaining he didn't have enough time to do paperwork and stuff so if he's there on a Friday and the rest of you are off, then he could catch up on that paperwork because you guys aren't running it out in the field anyway. Mm-hmm. So that's why we just wanted, because...
Well, I have a question. This is Alexis. There was a list of things rambled off about the benefits to the employees to not have to work Friday. And aside from the motor graders being warmed up and then driven to their location or other equipment, if you're an actual equipment operator like a blade man, aside from that issue and gaining a little bit of time in the day, what is the benefit to the county or to the taxpayers to have a 4-day work week?
The benefit is the fact that we are not wasting that extra hour in the mornings or whatever it takes to get our stuff warmed up. You know, that's one less day that we have to waste an extra hour. That's 2 extra hours that we're losing during the week.
But you're a blade operator, correct?
Yes, I am.
So that would be 10 employees are blade operators. There are about 25 or 27 employees total. So that would be the 10 blades. I understand, and I qualified that. I said aside from the blade operators, what is the benefit to shutting down the shop and the office? What is the benefit to the county for doing that and only having 4-day work weeks?
You mean shutting down all the equipment operators or the mechanics in the office?
Well, aside from the blades, the actual motor graders who do sometimes travel a long distance to start their route, you know, aside from that, which means with the exception of those, what is the benefit to the county or to the budget or to the taxpayers of having a 4-day work week?
Okay, well, in that aspect, if you're having the blades work that, work 4 10s, and we're saving that, we still need rock hauled to us. We still need a loader man out there. We still need our bridge crew out there working because the truck drivers haul to them too. Yeah, and you need the mechanics in case of breakdowns.
So you're advocating that it's okay to have 5-day work weeks unless it's the blades?
No, I'm not.
No, he's saying that he thinks they should have, those people need to be out there too, because if the grader guy's working on for 4 days, they need the rest of the support around them.
Well, I thought
We need a full crew to be able to do something. That's why when you were talking the flex work weeks, those aren't going to work because we don't have enough employees to run that because you're only going to have a full crew for 3 days.
Yeah, but what you're saying is you need them out there when you're out there, but if you're out there a longer day, I thought the first hour and the last hour were just getting to and from the job. So if they were available for the 8 hours in between your warm up and your shut down, then how are you missing anyone during the day?
They still have to warm up their trucks. They still have to get to the gravel pit. They have to
For an
warm
hour?
up the loader. That's still part of that warm up and shut down part. There's still travel time for them too.
Can I interject on that?
Go ahead.
I work on the bridge crew, and our work is kind of intertwined. Yeah, he might be on a blade, there might be a truck driver hauling gravel, I might be in a backhoe, but if we have to take a truck driver away from hauling gravel to run a low boy to haul the backhoe all the way to the end of the county, then you're losing productivity as far as being able to haul gravel where it's needed on the road. But if we leave him hauling gravel and we have to drive a backhoe to the end of the county, figure 22 to 24 mile an hour is top speed for a backhoe. You do the math of how long it's going to take to ride that 30 miles to the end of the county. So you're still losing time traveling back and forth every day. So in an 8-hour work day, if you're spending an hour driving there and an hour driving back, you lost 2 hours every day. You take that times 5 days a week, you just lost 10 hours of productivity just driving a piece of equipment. That's why we're able to get more done in a 10-hour day than we are in an 8-hour day.
So should we keep that open 12 months out of the year? Or right now we're only doing this in the summer, right?
Correct.
Would it benefit us to do it year round? Or, but in the winter, of course, it's darker earlier.
Yeah,
darker later.
that's the issue. In the summertime, it gets light earlier, it gets dark later. We got more work time.
Earlier.
Right.
And I understand in the wintertime going to 8 hours because, like you said, it's darker.
Because the light's going to shut down.
Right.
Yeah. But do you think it's worthwhile in the summer to keep it the way it is,
So
10
maybe
hours?
I should point out that we are so far behind, it would actually be better to give everyone the overtime of 2 hours a day. And everyone can get 2 hours overtime. Our budget, we haven't spent the money we were going to spend on motor graders, so I think we're so far behind. If you guys are saying you can get more done in a 10-hour day, maybe we should have 5 10s and let everybody catch up. I mean, the rain has destroyed roads and culverts, and we're so far behind, I'd be willing to pay out the overtime, and the employees, if they want to get caught up, they should be willing to come 5 10s.
Well, not everybody has that availability. Some of us have families that we'd like to see. Some of us, like me, I work days and my wife works nights because we make so little wage-wise, we can't afford to stay, or we can't afford to pay for daycare for our 4 kids. So she works nights, I work days, so that someone's always home with the kids because we can't afford the extra expense.
Right,
So
so overtime pays time and a half. And I'm talking about having 10 hours of overtime every week until we get caught up. So that's a lot of money.
right.
So are you against working overtime because
I'm not
because of your situation?
I'm not against it, but it has to work for my schedule because
When
I
time
can't just work overtime and
Yeah.
then my wife not work because that's not cost
Well, maybe you wouldn't
either.
have to work overtime, but maybe some of the other employees could, or
Well,
would,
then you have to
or
look
would.
at some of the other employees. They have
Yeah.
second jobs. Some
Yeah,
of these employees are farmers. When are they supposed to get their stuff
I guess
done?
I'm just going to say, as the employer, this is your primary job, and if you can't be committed to it, regardless of what the schedule works out to be that's best for the county, then maybe the secondary job is what takes precedence in your personal life. We can't determine that as the employer.
Or maybe
So
we
we're
can
not going to make
think about raises.
decisions, our budget and our schedule based on someone else's second job.
Right,
But
but if
what
we
we need
made
to do is figure out how to get caught up. And what I'm hearing is that we're very far behind, but everybody likes the 4-day work week. So it sounds to me like what we need to do is offer the overtime and go to 5 days and get some things done. Because you guys are saying you do the best when you have 8 hours straight, an hour of warm up in the morning for vehicles and travel and whatnot, and an hour to get home and get clocked out on time. So maybe we need to look at doing 10-hour days until we get caught up, because the summertime's the perfect time to do that. Like you said, it's light out.
Okay.
It is, and I think there are, some of the guys that are doing the overtime, like if they're out already, they are staying out. But, and some of them have been working a little bit on a Friday or Saturday, I believe, because I know Emmett for one has been doing that.
Yeah. Well, and we gave.
And it also depends on the area of like the FEMA damage as well.
Sure.
Some of it did.
Depends on
places didn't have as much.
Right, depends on the issue. Some people
Right.
are working on something, they need
Right.
overtime. Some other people maybe don't have to do overtime.
Right.
Right, and we told Michael that when he asked
Yeah.
for permission to do overtime a month or so ago. He says,
Yeah.
but only the people that need to be out there.
Yeah.
The key employees that you need at the time.
Yeah, but
Not everybody maybe has to do
Yeah.
50-hour
and
week.
I
I mean, some maybe can if there need to be, but not everybody needs to.
Yeah. Now,
Well, maybe that
To-
should be just we leave this discussion. Let's leave this discussion at someone needs to talk to the employees who want more hours, who want to help the jobs get caught up, and then we have a scheduling issue because it comes down to where they can work and how they can coordinate with not everyone there. Because what I'm hearing is an 8-hour stretch in a 10-hour day is more work than a 6-hour stretch in an 8-hour day. So we need to identify who needs an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon, because that's not everyone. Certainly it doesn't take an hour to turn on the lights in the shop and get your machines ready to work.
no, but it takes a while to get out to the pits and to get the
Right, but not
loader
everybody's
warmed
doing
up that's
that.
sitting out at the
That's
pit.
what I'm
They can't
saying.
load until the loader's ready. And you don't want
I
to just
understand.
take that cold because you're going to ruin something then. And there's a $100,000 piece of equipment down the drain.
Well, your 4 10-hour days, still get 40 hours.
Yeah.
You still have 5, 8 hours, 40 hours. So you get all the work done in 4 days. I don't have any problem with that. And it seemed to me that the manager out there can see who wants to work that extra day overtime and schedule them, let them work. Not everybody will, not everybody can.
Yeah, I think
That's
too.
our job.
Make that
to do
over. I think we should make the overtime flexible. But if we do have people that you need, you should say, hey, we really need you to come in overtime. Now you may have your situation where he says, I can't, I gotta be home. Well, maybe we give, make a deal. We could, in other words, we should be flexible with each employee if we can. But we also want the work done, like you just said. We're behind, like Alexis said. So we appreciate if you guys, I know, maybe do a little more because we are behind. Okay.
But,
Yeah.
you can schedule that. He didn't have to work 10 hours on Friday. He could work 6 or whatever works, or he doesn't.
right, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
I can or I
But
can't.
that's-
I'm just
Right.
I
saying
think
that
for
it
the
needs to
most
be
part-
an option, not a
Yeah.
mandated
Well, I
thing.
know. Yeah, I think we should be flexible.
And I think, for the most part, to be quite honest, I probably couldn't name you one guy that would say, I'm just not gonna flat do it. Because
Yeah. Well, I can
this
understand if you got
is a good group
families.
of guys, and and I think everybody is trying to reach the same goal of getting things good for the
Yeah,
county.
right, and that's
Yeah.
good, that's what we want.
Yeah.
And we can also, I think, be flexible with you guys too. I think, and we wanna keep our good employees, we don't wanna run them off, so I think if we give you guys some flexibility too, that'd be a perk a little bit for you too. But we do need a lot of this work done, well, you just said how big behind we are,
Yeah,
and that's all we're saying.
yeah, I agree with that.
Based on our discussion here, I think, I'd like to make a motion that we allow the manager of the highway department to schedule that 5th day of 10 hours or whatever portion she needs and can find, schedule work, and pay the overtime for that. And that'll bring us up to date until such time as we go back to winter hours.
Do you work Saturdays too?
Me,
No, I mean, some of
as a
you
rule,
guys.
I
I
know
have when I
Emmett
couldn't work a
has,
Friday.
I know that, Colton was when we
Excuse
were.
me,
Yeah,
we have
Alexis,
a
go
motion
ahead.
on the table, so we need to either second that or let it die.
I'll second it.
Okay, so the motion has been seconded to allow scheduling on the Fridays for overtime. Now, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, to answer the question about some of the guys, I know that Colton was also working, the extra day on Friday or Saturday, whatever, when we were doing the spraying, and I know that he is not doing the spraying anymore. I think that's gone all to Dan. And, but I know that Lance had come in and done a couple services. I mean, there have been things that kind of been done that they might not have been able to do. We've had a lot of things come up, breakdowns and,
Well, it's
and all
been
kinds of different things, you know.
a
So
hectic
they
year
are
with this weather
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, and so it's kind of starting to work out,
Good.
everything. But,
Okay.
and I want one last comment on that,
Okay.
10 hour day.
Yeah,
If I can, I don't know if Emmett had it down, I don't remember, but when I am almost positive, when every single person was hired to the county highway department, that was one selling point for everyone, is that we had Fridays off. And I'm just gonna say that. And that was for me. That was a huge deal for me.
but that's just in
Same
the,
here.
Correct.
that's just in the summer, right?
Right.
In the summer only, yes.
Okay, go ahead, Alexis, I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure that was only in recent years because they've gone. Dawn would have to verify this because she's been there much longer than I. But it was my understanding in previous conversations that we had gone back to a 4-hour day from a 5-hour day, a 4-day work week from a 5-day work week, which was previously. I think it had gone back and forth a couple times. So I'm not sure that applies to all employees, but I understand what you're saying. Some of them who have been hired on recently understood that, the highway department has 4-day work weeks. But what everyone needs to understand is that the commission needs to do what's best for the budget and what's best for the county, and we're very far behind, and that's for a mixture of reasons. So I believe the motion is to allow overtime on Fridays, keeping the 10-hour days Monday through Thursday, and I will call for a vote now. So those in favor vote aye. Aye.
Well, wait, Alexis, we still have an input from Liz, go
She
ahead.
was saying, okay, Alexis, you were only saying through the overtime on a Friday.
Excuse me, go ahead.
Would it be, I mean, is it not gonna be better for the motion, I don't know how you wanna do it, not on just a Friday, but say if a Friday didn't work for one, but his Saturday worked? Or
Okay,
is that okay as well?
Yeah,
Dawn, would you please read the motion as was stated by the maker?
I can't because he mumbled so much that I'm gonna have to watch the video to see.
I believe the motion was for Fridays, so would the
I don't
commission-
think that it was, I think it was just overtime,
Yes.
with no specific date listed. If you guys are gonna make very long motions, I think from now on you need to start, writing them out, because with me sitting in the back of the room and people talking in my ear, I can't always hear. And people talking around me, I can't always hear the motions. And I shouldn't
I'm
have
going
to
to-
listen to the motions 20 times off of the video.
I'm going to suggest that the commission vote down the motion and remake the motion. So I'm going to call for a vote for what's on the floor. Those in favor vote aye. Those opposed vote nay.
nay,
No.
Nay, motion defeated. Now if the motion would like to be replaced please do so.
I move that we continue the 4 to 10-hour work week, Monday through Thursday, for the highway department. And to bring the county up to standards, we allow the director of the highway department to schedule overtime on other days of the week as the director sees fit and can find employees to work.
I'll second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion at this point? I guess I would just still like an explanation as to how it benefits the county for all employees to be on a...
I believe I already stated that.
You gave me the benefit, you listed the benefits for the individual employees. I wanted the benefit for the county and the budget.
The benefit for the county and the budget is you don't have that extra day of startup and shutdown time. That's 2 hours wasted there. That's county money that's going down the drain.
But yet we're going to schedule overtime at leisure to catch up on projects that do need to be worked on continuously.
Yeah?
So we're paying out at a rate at 1.5 times for those additional days.
Well, the county still gets their 40-hour work week on Monday through Thursday.
And if we
That's
did,
no change.
and if we just did 8 hour, 5 days a week, 8 hours, we'd still probably need overtime because we're behind anyway, so I don't see any difference.
Well, because we haven't discussed a rotating schedule where some people work Monday through Thursday, other people work Tuesday through Friday.
Well, I think,
That won't work.
well, they explain that because we don't have enough personnel to, say on a Monday, say you have one group working Monday to Friday and you have one group working Tuesday to Thursday. You may not have enough personnel that could work Monday and have, for a Monday and a Friday to be, say, a truck driver or a dozer operator. There maybe aren't enough people to cover 2 shifts. That's what I think the issue is, Alexis.
Well, I have spoken with other counties who do that rotation, and it seems to work for them, so that must be a logistics issue within our own office. But I will leave it there. Call for the vote. Those in favor vote aye.
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 Motion carries.
Did you vote aye?
Yes.
Do you have any other issues?
Okay, yes. They were concerned about insurance. You know, everybody's talking about changing the insurance. And if you change insurance companies and you don't like what you get, you know, and we go back to Blue Cross Blue Shield, our premiums are going to skyrocket because we were grandfathered in on this, I believe.
Where are you getting that information, I may ask?
I've heard several people.
Me too as well. Like I specifically said that. Like
Yeah.
there have been. I wish I could give you an example, and I'm not as of late talked about any of the insurance, but I know that in passing, people that I've talked to, good Lord, it could have been a year ago. I don't remember, but anyway, said that once you do go off that Blue Cross, and if you would go back, usually the premium goes because I think the county's been with Blue Cross Blue Shield for quite a while. And I remember when Deborah was doing the insurance, she even specifically said it to me that with our insurance rates as they are, if we ever quit, it was probably going to be a major increase if we went back.
Okay,
Well,
I'm
So she
going
was
to stop
as
this
previous,
conversation.
but I don't know that to all be true. You know.
Excuse me, yes. I'm going to stop you there and say this is all misinformation, and this is a decision for the commission and department heads. And as much as we want input, we're in the middle of collecting information, and everything that you just said is not true.
Well, that's good to
Great.
know.
Yeah.
Well, let me kind of summarize where we're at. We're looking, we've been having insurance through the state plan or benefits through them. They've got more expensive, and we're looking at brokerage type insurance outfits, and we've interviewed 5 or 6. We're down to 1 or 2, actually 1 now. And we've checked, and actually our rates should probably get cheaper for you too. Depends on how we set it up for the employee. We haven't determined that yet. But the way it is now, you would still have Blue Cross. It would probably be, or you have them options. Well, we haven't determined that for sure, but I'm pretty sure we will, because they're the biggest carrier in a state and a huge nationally. But there's Aetna and then also United Health. Those 3, and you may have options on those. But about everybody we've interviewed would have that. And actually, we're looking where we could save the county money on premiums, because we may partially self-insure or self-insure where we would handle it. We're not sure about that for sure yet either. But the thing is, it would save the county money. But you guys, I think, still have just as good benefits as if we check. We don't see.
Yeah, that's,
Now, we may, in some cases, depends on, right now we pay 90 and 10, 90% and 10% for the employee. That may change a little, I don't know. Like especially if you're, for the individual maybe not, but if you would go to a husband or a family, you may have to pay a little more for that.
Mr. Lohman,
Yeah,
what needs to be said is that employee utilization of the health insurance is what drives our cost. It's like having car insurance. Every time you have a wreck, it may up your insurance. Now, I'm not asking people not to get sick, but what I'm saying is going to the doctor versus going to the emergency room, if it's not an actual emergency, ends up saving us money, because our claims history is what drives our premiums. So that's what the employees need to be discussing. Not how we shop around for a plan, but how we can lower our claims, because the lower our claims are, the more affordable our premium is, and the less everybody will pay out of their paycheck.
yeah, that's, I think, yeah, the employees hopefully kind of know that, not to abuse your insurance. In other words, try to, and I don't know if we have that problem, do we?
I'm not talking about abusing it. I'm talking about if they're worried about how much health insurance costs, they need to learn that how health insurance works. And so going for your well visits and catching things early and things like that is what the company is going to push as far as increasing your knowledge on how to work your plan. And there are some plans that have wellness programs and there are some that do not, and we don't have that in place yet. We did have it in place because it was offered through the state program. And so Liz, by you saying that we were on Blue Cross Blue Shield, that's not true. We were on the state plan and we were locked into it for 3 years. So we are now looking to leave the state plan.
The state offered Blue Cross to us.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
We got Blue
yeah,
Cross.
we have Blue
And
Cross.
and anybody we get new is gonna have Blue Cross too. So
Correct.
you won't be changing hardly anything.
Now-
Probably transfer right over. Only just be,
Potentially. They're gonna be
Potentially.
bidding different companies.
right, we're
So
bidding,
until you see the premium, you don't know what company you're gonna go with. And I think
Right.
what they're trying to say is they like the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan.
right, I know that.
So,
one other thing on that, if we change insurance, what about this point system we're going with to save the $480 for the people that are doing it, and they have their points for this year to save next year, and you change insurances, that goes out the window, and they did that all for nothing.
well, hopefully they did it to stay healthy.
Well, yeah, that too, but it's also to save $480, so, it's
You mean it's part of the
Health Quest.
health,
Health Quest thing.
yeah, Health Quest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll explain it this way. The state makes you sign on for 3 years. Now, we could have withdrawn and paid a penalty, but for us to sign on this year for another 3 years would not be beneficial for anyone, because all we've seen are yearly and semi-annual increases. In fact, this year, all of the employees were supposed to receive an increase in July, but the county budgeted last year to keep your payments the same throughout the year so that you didn't see the increase, but we had already paid into the budget to cover the increase.
And we
So there's
appreciate
no
that.
benefit, except I understand what you're saying. The people who were planning on staying on the state plan were doing their program. That would be a loss, unfortunately. But overall, that's not worth a 3-year commitment of steady increases that we cannot control.
And hopefully,
Okay.
we'll be cheaper for the county premiums that county pays, and hopefully still give you about the same benefits. At least that's what we're hoping
That
right
sounds
now.
good.
About the same benefits you have now. And that, it's like over $1 million some a year the county pays for the premiums. That's a lot of money on a $7 or $8 million budget. If we
Yeah.
can make that 800,000 instead of 200 grand, possibly we can. We don't know
Yeah.
yet. but we're looking into that, okay? It's trying to save the county
Yeah.
money, the taxpayers' money,
I
but still
understand
give you, take care of you guys too.
Yeah.
We wanna take care of our employees.
I understand that.
We thankful for you employees and respect you. Sometimes you may not think we do, but we do. Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, that thing on Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the bank, when I was in the bank, the Blue Cross and Blue Shield lady said, if you go off of us, you can't come back on with us for,
Okay, I'm gonna explain this again. We are not on Blue Cross and Blue Shield anything. We are on the state plan. When you're offered the
Well-
state plan, you have the choice of using Blue Cross and Blue Shield as the provider for the coverage. We are not contracted to Blue Cross and Blue Shield as a county employer.
yes, at the bank, we were on the Kansas Bankers Association plan, which was Blue Cross and Blue Shield, but if we went to another one, you couldn't get back on there.
And what I'm telling you is we are not on a plan with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. We are on the state plan, which offers Aetna and Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
No, but Steve, we looked in, with these brokerages, they've already come up with numbers to us that we're gonna have Blue Cross as an option. And it'd probably be just as cheap now, benefits or payment, premiums that you guys would pay, and even maybe even cheaper. So they've already
That's
given us.
staying on Blue Cross, and yes, but
Well, we are gonna stay on it. We'll have the option to, hopefully.
Even if they didn't wanna use a brokerage company and go someplace else, we could contract directly with Blue Cross Blue Shield. We may have to pay a really high premium, but we can still get on Blue Cross Blue Shield. The only way Blue Cross Blue Shield would ever take us back is if we were an uninsurable group, where we had massive catastrophe claims, to where we ended up being a higher risk than what we were paying in premium. That would be the only way. And right now, we have a healthy group, so now's the time to look at bids. I know you may not feel healthy, but I don't feel healthy half the time either. But right now, we have a healthy group. We have a mix of ages that maybe we can actually save some money, and maybe we can save money in our own pockets.
No, we know you guys have concerns. We're not gonna throw you off a cliff here and say we're not gonna give you benefits. We just wanna save the county money, and that's the intention here.
Okay.
And I think we've reviewed 5 or 6 different outfits and had them come here several times and give us their pitch to us. So we're not, we're trying to do a good job here of reviewing this stuff.
Yeah. But nobody's questioning that.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's questioning that.
I think a lot of these questions are coming up because of not having had hired an HR person yet, and Dawn's doing the best she can with trying to ask a lot of questions, or answer a lot of questions. So, I mean,
Yeah,
no, I'm not talking today, I'm talking in general.
yeah,
Just trying to fill some shoes. That's just where all this came about, was,
sure.
you know,
And one of
It's
the
nice
benefits.
that you're asking rather than everybody rumor milling and spreading gossip that isn't true.
yeah.
One of the benefits of one of these, we talked to these brokerage firms, a lot of them are very good at, they're gonna talk to you guys, employees, each one of you, and say,
Yeah.
what do you want? Hopefully that's what we'll get with this. And they can coordinate and help Dawn out so she doesn't have to do all this coordination.
That's,
Right,
that's it.
as a benefits coordination, they'll do,
Yeah.
okay?
The only thing I forgot to ask the company that you guys have preliminary picked is whether or not they could have an HSA plan.
Oh, yeah.
Whether there's a combination. I know the hub group, they could build a combination similar to what we have for the state, where you have some choices. So
Okay.
that's something I need to ask that pick lady, but I'm
Uh-oh.
sure that we can. Where if you were just with, a very long time ago, when we were just with Blue Cross Blue Shield, you had just one option. This is the plan, you either picked or you choose, and you picked which tier it was. So we'll see if there's options.
yeah,
Just
and
so-
hopefully it will, because I can tell you there are several families who faithfully use that. One of our guys has to have medication like every month for all sinuses and everything, and I mean, it's, they use that health savings plan.
Okay.
So hopefully that will be an option.
Well, we'll make sure we ask about that, and we haven't decided, we preliminary picked one group, but we haven't for sure.
Sure.
We haven't signed anything yet,
Okay.
so, okay. So we're gonna try to give you the best benefits we can here. Anything else in it?
We've got a couple more here, and hopefully it'll be quick. Everybody's wanting to know why we're splitting hairs on 25-cent raise. why we're having problems with that.
With what? I didn't hear that.
Why we're splitting hairs on a 25-cent raise.
Why we're splitting hairs on a 25-cent raise, Alexis?
Why that's such a problem, I mean,
Well, we came up with these evaluations. This is what started it, which was trying to get management to talk to you guys, employees,
yeah,
and to determine your performance.
okay,
And we had a rating system, and based on that, we were given merit raises or not, based on the performance. And we had a certain amount of money there in a pool to hand out, and that's where we came up with.
okay,
So to decide, that's where we got a ranking system based on performance.
okay.
And that's how they determine that. Now, this is the first time I think we're doing this, right, Alexis? First time you've ever done this. So we maybe need to modify in the future or tweak this or something. I'm not saying that.
Lincoln County has not been doing employee evaluations, and so attached to the employee evaluation is the merit raise. And this year, the county was generous enough to give everyone 25 cents across the board.
Mhm.
So the mid-year, we decided the additional 25 cents was available to be determined by the evaluation. So all the department heads were instructed to do evaluations on the employees, and the commission did evaluations on the department heads.
Okay.
At this time, we have delayed our decision on the structure of how we're going to break down the scores because, as you know, when you answer questions and you get some higher or lower, you're going to be subject to a certain number, whatever that percentage is. So we preliminarily determined that that percentage was going to equal a cent amount. And what we're finding is there's a pretty big disparity between departments, so we're in the middle of discussing how to close that gap, whether we use a curve system or whether we just individually assign by department, something like that. So that is yet to be determined. We're going to be doing that by the next pay period, so everyone will see the raise that is reflective of their employee evaluation in the next following paycheck, not the one that's going to be distributed this end of this week.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's all I had on that one. And
Yeah.
Now, what about for people for like their annual? Because like for me, when I applied and got hired on, I don't remember if it's if it was in the handbook or if it was advertised, but it talks about you get a raise at 6 months and another one at a year. Well, my 6 months came around and I had to wait 2.5 months before I ever got my 6-month raise. Well, my year.
That was reflective of whether or not your department head requested it from the commission.
Okay, well my 1 year was in June 4th to be exact. I had that evaluation, and once again, here it is about a month and a half later, and I've still yet to see the fruit of that labor. Colton, I think, went almost 5 months before he had finally received his.
That would not have anything to do with the generation of your paycheck. The commission approves wages, and the clerk generates your paycheck. If you had not received your raise on time, and it does specifically say there's a 6-month and a 12-month raise. If you did not receive those on time, I would be asking your supervisor why. It has nothing to do with the commission.
Okay.
Liz, do you know anything about that?
Well, okay. Okay, I think as far as Colton's, if I think back, because there were several at that time, and I'm thinking that with Colton's, the deal was, I believe that Bob might have been kind of sick during that part, and I think Colton had done his part of it, and it waited until Bob got back, I believe, because
So-
Bob had done some. I mean, there was something to that.
I know.
But then I know Colton's was made up retroactively, like it went back, and he picked up that time. And I think I'm not for sure as far as on Greg, and that could just be an oversight. Dawn and I think, good God, I don't know how many months ago, talked about maybe trying to figure out a way to slip it on the calendar, and I even think that was even kind of talked about even probably when Dee Dee was here, to somehow figure out a better way so we can remember. So like say myself could even help to remind Michael or, or Bob as it was at that time, but trying to figure out a better system for us to all know when that is supposed to
When everybody's
transpire.
anniversary date is.
Exactly.
I think the other thing is too, is a lot of blame gets put on my office and on this board when it's actually the supervisors. It's their responsibility, and I'm sorry, endless times, even when Deborah was there, she would call down every month and say, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. She would give them the slip of paper, and they still wouldn't do it. Now they're tying the raises to the evaluation, so if the evaluation isn't received, then they're not asking until they get the evaluation done. But somewhere along the line, your department head needs to take responsibility for some of those actions.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think we kind of talked about somehow, like between maybe it was Dee, I don't know, but I thought you and I talked also about trying to devise something on Outlook, even on Outlook that will pop up.
Okay,
Now,
but
on the new payroll,
that is the responsibility of each department, because however the department head wants to keep track of his or her own employees, that's on them as far as keeping track.
on the new time clock system, we did add anniversaries, so you can see anniversaries. It's not gonna help you with the 1 year, but you'll see where employees are at, and the reason why I like that, and I made sure that we added it to the departments and got it up and working so that you can see it when you go onto the dashboard, is because if really, technically, how the merit-based raises should be to make it a little bit easier for the departments is on the month that the employee is completing their anniversary. So then that way, it would tell them, for example, if they have 6 employees that are entering their anniversary during the month of July, it has them listed right there. So somebody has a clue that they are done. So then they could actually do the evaluation, come in and ask you guys for the raise and be done with it, rather than you guys assigning it on a yearly basis to everybody, if that makes sense.
One last thing, and let's go on. If I was shorting my money, I wouldn't be waiting 4 or 5 months. A little bit rips on you guys by not going in there and saying, hey, boss, what the hell's going on?
And I think they
And
have.
you may have, but that's, you
Well,
gotta stay after that.
I think with Greg, I think his just got dropped, and because I am pretty sure I passed that on because he brought it up to me several times, and I made sure that it was to be mentioned. Now, whether or not his eval came over on that, I have no idea, because that.
Not tied to the 6 months and the 1 year. So again, Liz, I know you are acting as the director of the department right now, but this
My
falls
evaluation
on
was
the
for my
director, and who is not here, and that needs to be discussed or fixed.
Alexis, you guys were making them do the evaluations before you would approve the raise, since like December or maybe November even. So they had to present it to you, because they've been presenting evaluations since last fall. But I can go get Greg's evaluation that he did, and you guys could do that, and we could get June taken care of, because his evaluation could count for both. And if there's anybody else, I think it's just
We could do that, you wanna do that now, or?
well, I can do that after you guys get done.
Don, all I was saying is that the evaluation for the merit raise, yes, it can be used to validate the 6 month or 1 year, but that was really always done on recommendation of the department head.
Right, but you guys, in late fall, they came in and asked for a raise, and you guys said, the board at that time said, where's their evaluation, we wanna see their evaluation, and they had to do their, could you turn it over?
Yes.
They had to do their evaluation before, you guys would grant the raise.
Yes, and I think we do need to establish that as a board, as you said, use the anniversary date for the year 2019 in order to continue with the raises. And that way, like you said, the department head will know it's X, Y, and Z employees' annual review, and that's how they do it, and they can get their raise at that time. So if you wouldn't mind, yes, let's take care of whoever needs to get their retroactive pay.
Okay.
What's next?
I got one more thing, and then it's a few points here. I want to talk about Jesse and Michael and the job they were doing. You know,
This cannot be discussed in open session, so if if you have something that you would like to say in general as far as the projects that you're working on, or what project is next, or what project has been completed, please feel free to continue.
But she's saying if it gets real.
No, I'm saying if you're going to mention an employee's name and what they have or have not done, or what you think of them, or anything about their job performance, that may not be said in open session, so I'm just going to stop it now. If you want to talk about the projects, such as Jesse started the bridge on Milo and it is not finished yet, then we can talk about that.
Okay, I'd like an executive session to talk about it sometime.
Okay, we could do that now, I suppose. We're,
He's a blade operator?
Yes, ma'am. You have a problem with that?
No, I don't have
Okay.
a problem, I don't have
Okay.
a problem with that.
Okay.
He's not an executive.
Okay, so who's asking for the executive session? I apologize.
Emmett Hogg, who's,
Okay, so Emmett
Mike.
Hogg is asking for an executive session.
Yeah.
I move to recess into executive session for 10 minutes for the purpose of discussing the highway department restructure and management pursuant to KSA 754319 2B number 1, personnel matters of non-elected personnel, to reconvene in the basement commission room with the commission and Mr. Haug.
who do we want to talk to? Just Mr. Haug, or you guys, anybody else
I'd
besides?
like to have Liz in with us.
Liz.
I feel that if you're going to be talking to one employee about the supervision, then you don't need to include other employees. That's why my motion is as stated for the commission and Mr. Haug.
Well, and you need
It-
the department head.
Liz is our department head.
And it was done, they talked about it as a group, and I think Emmett just added some things of his own as well. I mean, he showed it to me to read.
Yeah.
But it was talked about as a
But as
group,
the
I will let
county
you know.
commission, we are bound
Sure,
by law here on what we can do and what we can.
sure, I just wanted to let you know that the, yeah.
So we just make it between Emmett and us?
That's my motion.
With county clerk involved too?
No.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded for the executive session, and I will say under the discussion, my purpose is that we obviously have a shift in management happening, and the commission has already spoken one-on-one with the current acting director, so I believe if there are issues that need to be discussed about people who are not present, then we can talk about that. And actually, I'm going to correct myself right now and say that since Jesse Zacco is no longer employed with us, he will have to be omitted from this executive session discussion. We can talk about the current employees, and then if something needs to be said about Mr. Zacco, then it will have to be said out in the open session. Is everyone clear on that?
Yeah.
How long was the executive session?
10 minutes, right, Alexis?
Moved for 10 minutes. So it has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
And I need a 5-minute break here,
Thanks a lot for
Alexis.
coming in.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll
You
be
can run
right
to the
back.
bathroom now.
Yeah, I need to go too.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Yes. I am handing them like the project sheet that I showed you the other day, that was laying on the table that you saw the other day, and it just says
The one that Mr. Zacco provided to us?
the what?
Is this the one that Mr. Zacco created?
Is this a handwritten one that Mr. Zacco did before?
No.
No, this is a different one you did, right?
Yes.
This is the one,
No, yes, it's not the one on the culverts or any of that. This is that thing, that daily thing that you saw laying on the table when
Schedule,
you came over.
the schedule.
Yeah, basically the schedule.
scheduled things for different people here. Do you have one for Alexis?
Okay, thank you.
I do.
Here, I'll just lay it.
Yeah.
Alexis, I'll lay it on your pile of paper over here, okay?
We'll just lay it on the phone so you can read it too.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could take a picture and text it. No, I can't. It's on my phone. But what we did this morning is we just kind of went over everything. I wanted you to kind of know what they were doing, and basically this is probably about going to go throughout the week. But you know, the lad pit needs to be cleaned out. And so they're gonna use that gravel and it's gonna go up into the Sylvan territory. And, let's see, some of the guys are reclaiming gravel. Then we just have our guys who are mowing and blading, and I think today they were going to try to do mostly dirts, since it's a little bit drier for the gravel roads. And then, let's see, I'm seeing if there's anything different. We've got a couple of mowers that have kind of been down, so I know that that's what the shop guys are working on. Plus, there's still, Foley Cat will be coming in to do some services on the equipment. And again, I kind of wanted to make that clear that Cat or Foley, they end up doing just specific services. And so the ones that are coming due, I think there might have been one that might have been a little over in his hours, but that is Foley equipment. They are monitoring that. It's all done through computer. And so the guy was here last week and did a couple of services, and then he had to pull the big filters and take them back due to the process of that service. So I just wanted you to know that I know that someone has said he was over in hours because he had said that to myself, but I made it very clear that it's actually Foley Cat that monitors those first services. And then they're doing some, like up in Bobby and Dave's area, they're going to be laying some gravel and stuff because I think there's a little bit of a FEMA project up there and something having to do with the tube. And I don't even know if I'm in the right area of that, but somewhere around a schoolhouse or something where there was a washout. And I know they were talking today to Stephen, and you know, I think going to kind of work on that and get it done as well. And then that was kind of for the week. I mean, they'll be hauling, and I think they'll start hauling chip rock also and putting it on that Ringler property that they got ready last week. And then, well, I did talk to Dawn about a time clock thing already. We just kind of did that off the scope of the thing. And I think that from talking with the guys this morning, I'm going to have to call APAC and Hayes for the premix that'll be done for chip seal. That they will stockpile to do the pre-patching. And
I see, like Tim Lyon's not on here. What's he doing?
oh, did I miss Tim?
Blading probably. Huh?
He is.
Yeah, I know he's a blade.
He is. Doggone.
That's what they.
Doggone it. Ooh. Well, we're having computer problems today.
That's fine.
We have no internet.
No big deal. I know he's a blade guy.
Yeah, and therefore I can't even connect to the copier.
That's fine.
So
no problem.
that's why I had to handwrite it. But anyway, and so moving on, kind of from what the guys are doing, we're, as I said, we're kind of having some problems.
Liz, could you state what is the time clock issue?
Oh, I just asked Dawn about the lunch thing and her email. We were just trying to figure out on our guys who are out in the field as far as they don't have the ability to clock out. So one of the guys in here actually had a question for her. Also, one of the bridge guys, and so I just thought I would ask her point blank on that to see if for what she wanted us to do. And she told us.
And while she is the point person on the time clock, I just want the commission to be kept abreast of that because it's all new and we mandated it. So I just want to know what the issues are.
Okay. Well, and I think a lot of it with us is that anytime, because of that not being an automatic dismissal at lunchtime, like the time clock is not automatically checking it out, those guys are either going to have to come back into the office every day to clock out, which I don't believe that will happen, but I'm just going to have to manually clock them out a 30-minute lunch, or we're just going to automatically know if they had a 30-minute lunch, or I mean whatever the case may be. If they're on a project, sometimes they will just kind of eat their sandwiches or driving in their truck. I mean, and right now with the hauling chip rock and stuff, I mean, I don't know how they'll do that when they're out in the field for sure until they actually do it. But that's all it was a 30-minute lunch, clocking in and clocking out. If it was going to be done automatically already on the time clock without them having to do it, or if we still need to make provisions to punch them out.
So some of them are automatically, the ones that are out are automatically coming off the 30 minutes. So basically what it does is it makes it look like they leave a half an hour early on the time when the time clock system. It has their punch in and their punch out, but when it comes in, it doesn't have an in-between punch, so then it reduces the hours. The others of them, we had it as a break. And it wasn't rounding. So, like, for example, Hannah had 16 minutes of extra time because she got to back from lunch 16 minutes early throughout the last 3 weeks. And not 16 minutes in one day. That's a minute here and a minute there. And so in order for it to round correctly, we had to take the break off and have where they actually clock out. So like if they clock in, it will round it to the nearest 15 minutes. So if she clocked back in, say for example, at 12:29, it's going to round it to 12:30. And that will take care of that 16 minutes of overtime that is saying that we owe her just because she happened to clock in and walk in, exactly a minute ahead of her clock out time for 30 minutes later. So that's the only change that occurred.
Yeah,
So
Dawn's keeping us in line.
we have to make it work, because if you're going to sit there and tell me that I can't pay them for their minutes, that it needs to round to the nearest 15 minutes, and we have to get the time clock to work so that we're not paying them for their minutes.
I agree with that.
Okay. What's that? Let me see. I'm just flipping. It was a little chaotic. Oh, I think too, when you guys were over there, I mean, you saw kind of where we were. Everybody was going to be as far as the chip seal process, and then I told you about the. Oh, another thing is the computer system, and I think someone else in a different department had mentioned that Windows is upgrading. So we will have 3 obsolete computers over there in the office. The one that got put in Bob's old office is current, and it's ready to roll. But it will be Michael's office, my desk, and then the computer out in the shop that the guys work on will all have to be to the upgrade. And actually
What do you mean obsolete?
You're breaking up again.
You're breaking up, Alexis.
She said, why did you say obsolete?
Well, you can upgrade software, right? Just an upgrade.
they are not going, they will have, from my understanding, they have to upgrade, like the hard drives will be off because it's going to Windows 10. And we have, I think, Windows 7. And from my understanding, when the guy even called from Next Tech and he said, I'm just giving a reminder again that if you guys have equipment that falls under that 7, they only have a window of so long that they can keep being tech for that.
Well, can't we upgrade it?
If Windows does not extend their contract and their upkeep, probably countywide, anything that has a Windows 7 will have to be replaced, was my understanding.
Well, Windows 7 is worldwide.
No, but it's just an older version of an operating system. Well, they can upgrade from a 7 to a 10, can't they?
No.
Said we've not seen anything come down the pike yet that says they are going to upgrade the 7 to a 10. It'll be entirely new, like they will not.
So it'd be like you need new computers or new software, whole new operating system installed or something, right?
Yeah.
Not just them, it's worldwide.
It is, and
So
it's
you're
just,
telling me all these computers have Windows 7 worldwide can't upgrade to Windows 10?
that's
Well,
exactly what they're
or-
saying.
I don't believe that
You don't
because
actually have to upgrade, ever.
They just will
7
never
is
support it.
stable. The thing is, a 7
Hey,
is stable.
I'm sorry.
7 is
Sorry.
stable.
I'm sorry. Can I interrupt for a second?
yeah,
Can you answer that? I mean,
You-
if I
you don't-
talk,
you
no,
don't-
I
you
mean,
don't-
I'm saying from the gallery.
You
I'm
don't,
just asking.
you don't have to upgrade. You don't have
But
to.
their tech support may not support them if they don't,
How often you?
Okay.
text-
right?
I'm gonna interrupt for just a second.
Yeah.
This gal whom I've never met, and I mean, I guess it's our time to talk. I'm relaying that information. And so, I don't know who she is. I've never met her. And I mean, I'm only relaying the information. So I don't have the answers. And I don't feel that you should answer that question.
I wasn't answering, I was making.
But are you supposed to be in the gallery? That's all I'm asking.
It works.
Well, let's get back to the issue.
Yeah,
So in other words, we may have an issue with the operating systems.
possibly. And I don't know, I'm only bringing it forth to you guys because that might be something that might have to be looked at some point. I don't know. I'm not a computer expert. I'm only saying what the guy told me.
Well, I could help you on that.
Yeah, I mean, so
Can I
I'm just
can
bringing
you
it up
call?
to
You got their phone numbers and stuff? So we
Next
can
step.
contact them. I don't need them right now. Maybe I'll come
Yeah.
down at your office, huh? And we'll call
Sure.
them. We'll call them.
And
And
so
I-
I think they've told every county department that, because I know
Yes,
Diane
I was
said-
going to interrupt and say, I believe the treasurer came to us with the same concern and decided that it was a sales gimmick.
I don't know. I don't know. This is coming straight from Next Tech themselves. I mean, and I don't.
Well, what did they
Well,
offer
It's
for
a
you to do?
security issue is what it is.
And
Yes.
the mere fact that you don't know makes you a primary target. So that is
Well-
why I believe Randy should help. He has a computer background, so that
Well,
would
and I
be
can
great.
help.
great.
But the thing is does it affect the Treasury Department up here, Dawn? It affects our county treasurer, you said? Maybe?
There's quite a few computers in the courthouse. It doesn't affect ours because
But,
we just got new computers.
And we have Next Tech doing all of our
But from what I
service, so-
understand from the people that the tech is talking to them about is that it affects the security of the system.
Okay.
And that we won't be secure and our information can be
Hacked or
easily,
something.
yes, because they're not going to be updating it. But I can email them and ask them to give us.
Well, I'll help you. I know this technical
Well,
stuff. But the
and-
thing is we've upgraded. We've had computers for
Sure.
30 years, and you always get upgrades to all this stuff. You go from Windows 95 to 98 to blah, 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 blah. You know that. So
Sure.
there's got to be an answer here to upgrade this. They just ain't going to leave a million computers out. We'll be able to go to 7 to 10. So there's a way to fix this, I'm sure.
They haven't offered anything yet. That's what I'm saying. And yes, being a prime target, absolutely. But on the same turn, I'm only reporting it. I'm
Yeah, I
not
know.
the one that makes that call.
We know, and
so
we appreciate you
it's-
reporting it.
Yes.
No, and I'll check in. I
you
can help
guys taking the hit.
No,
not
I
me.
just, I can help you. I can
Yeah.
even come down there, or
Yeah.
even the whole county I can. 'Cause and so could Mona, known as a software person. But
You
I was too. I've done
probably
20
should.
years of this stuff.
Yeah.
It
But I
says-
can figure that or help with it.
It says once Windows 7 ends, the support will end. Your PC will become more vulnerable to security risks. Windows will operate, but you will stop receiving security and feature updates.
That's just up. They're going to quit updating 7 because it's old.
And then you can order an off-the-shelf one.
He hasn't seen anything come through, is what he was
Off the
saying.
shelf tin.
No.
Why can't we upgrade to 10 from 7?
I don't know. That's for the computer people.
Well, I'll talk to them. Let me
Yeah.
talk.
I
Let me
think
talk to
part
these
of it
next
is-
idiots.
I think the other part of it is all these computers are aging. So if you're gonna upgrade, you might as well.
Well, they are all. Hardware's getting older, software's getting older. Yeah, we should probably maybe get newer computers and new software
I mean-
eventually, or at least once in a while here, obviously.
And I was only reporting it
No,
as
no.
something that was brought to the department.
No,
That's
that's
far
fine.
past me. That's it.
But no, thank you
Yeah.
for doing that. We're
Yeah.
not cussing at you.
No,
here.
no, I know. No, I'm just
We're
saying that's
there
it.
should be
So
an
as
way
far
that
as
there
that
should be.
part,
They
yeah.
they may be trying to scare us too, saying
Sure.
you ain't gonna upgrade, therefore you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they're
I
vulnerable.
just kind of felt that somebody better know that.
Exactly.
Somebody better know that.
Well, we'll check in on it. I'll help you, okay?
Good
And I'll
deal.
help the whole county with all our computers do this.
Okay.
And I'll talk to the Next Tech people.
Okay.
Okay. See if they can be us.
Now, I also today received a resignation, and I don't know if I can say who it is or what have you, but I made copies and the original for Alexis, and I don't know how you guys properly handle
You give them
that.
to me here. She's.
Okay.
We can't. Alexis, we probably better not talk about that here right now, should we? Or
They can, if they've resigned, are they already gone? Have they left for the day?
Yes, he's
Okay,
done.
they're no longer an employee. It's open session material.
You might not want to read that open session.
No, please do. You've already introduced it. It's public information now.
Okay.
It's a public.
Okay. Well, I guess you guys,
I can't read who that is.
oh,
On your sheet.
can I say who it is then?
Right here,
Yes.
Yeah, it is Trent Hall.
Trent Hall.
on your sheet, right there.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't see that.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess I did put
Well,
it
he
on
just,
there.
didn't he just hire on?
He did,
And
yeah.
not only a month or so ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
He actually took another job.
And I'll give the original Alexis. Alexis, I'll lay the original. It's a handwritten note on your pile, and there's a copy of it also here.
Okay.
That would be all I have.
Okay.
I think that's probably enough.
Anything else, Alexis, for Liz?
I want to know where we are on the project for Bison Drive because we had a request and we had approved over, I would say 6 weeks ago, to start work there for the drive. Well, there's a house being put in, and it was an extension of a gravel road for an additional, I'm going to say half mile, 3/4 of a mile. And I had requested 2 blade operators to be on the agenda a few weeks ago so we could discuss this project, and they did not come in. Now I understand you have multiple employees there today, and I know that this wasn't your project, Liz, but maybe you could update us on this project.
Okay. Yeah, I believe when you guys came in and visited with me on Thursday, we talked about that. And
No, it wasn't on your schedule, remember? Because I had asked what those guys were doing, and that wasn't on their schedule. So the house is set to be completed and a move-in date of August 31st.
okay,
No, July 31st. I'm sorry, July 31st. August.
Oh, okay. Well, when you came in last Thursday, we talked about that job. Because I probably,
reiterate what was said.
pardon me?
I don't remember talking about that other than I asked about it, and you said that they weren't working on it currently.
No, because I think
and
I think I brought it
schedule that
up.
you had.
I think I brought it up, and I probably wasn't very nice about it when I did. But I think what ended up being is then we kind of talked about the FEMA as well, and that there were some things that were needing done. And so today, what they're doing is they had something that up in their area, the 2 guys you're talking about, as far as that needed to be done, because I think they're the ones that are kind of working on, maybe not specifically them where that tube is by the school, but they had some part of a road up there, and Bobby and Dave both were working on it, and the guys, because of the pit that they're cleaning out, I guess, we're trying to eliminate that gravel, because obviously that pit's going to be up for reclamation, but I believe anyway it is. And anyway, so while the guys were up in that area hauling rock for spot graveling, they were going to try to take, and they're going to do Bobby and Dave Winkler today. They should be doing that this morning, as a matter of fact, getting them done. So then they should be able to, hopefully, sometime this week, start going up to that road. But
Okay, but my question is, what is the plan? Because it's my understanding that we need at least 2 culverts replaced on that road while it's being dug up. We need the ditches pulled and the shoulders reshaped before we lay material. So is there I know this isn't your project that you didn't start, but is there a plan? And this is the exact reason why I wanted to talk to the people who were going to be doing the work.
I believe that is the plan. And Stephen, they were going up, as far as with the culverts, and they were going to, unless he did it on Friday, I'm not for sure, they were going to check some things out. And so, I don't know, with Tanner being here today, I do not even know where this place is, and I thought if time allowed him, that maybe we could just run up there real quick sometime today, and jot it down, and then that way, that was the plan for me to bring back to you.
This is just an ordinary road. This isn't something that requires an engineer. This isn't an actual project that needs reorganized as far as knowing any kind of specific dimensions. This is just a road that already exists that needs 2 culverts dug up and replaced with new ones. So you'd need someone to measure the culverts, know what needs to go in there, do we have them, when they can get there, the logistics of all of that. That's not necessarily an engineering project.
I just wanted to be showed where the place is, so I can see it for myself.
But we're paying Tanner to be there to be an engineer, not to be a chauffeur.
So where, you said it's on Bison Drive, and then what's the side road, the other road, or what intersection is it close to? I've never heard about this project. So.
It's not a project, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not for you, Tanner. You're hired as an engineer. This is just a road project that I wanted to speak to the blade operators about because they were working on it. We're just extending gravel on an already existing road that needs a little bit of shape up because it was dirt.
We talked about that today. I would like to see it for myself, honestly.
Sure, if you hook into your Mobile 311 program, you just type up the area, they should already have something in there about it. In fact, I had asked, there are some of those operators that are using Mobile 311 pretty regularly. So if you would just connect to that, boom, it's on the map and you can take a county vehicle there and look at it.
That is fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with doing that.
Perfect.
But I will tell you, we talked about it last Thursday. And from what I was gathering from our little meeting there in the office was that we were going to finish FEMA because obviously that's a lot of money coming into the county. And so
Actually,
in order to do that with
you some help, we asked David Doe to help you get the paperwork done and to start working on Mobile 311, which is all interconnected here, so that's perfect. I mean, it's the perfect combination. Have you been able to get with David for some help yet? Or talk to him about it?
No, I haven't because I told you last Thursday that I wouldn't be available on Friday because of my mother-in-law's surgery. And I haven't had a chance to call him yet this morning because the office has been pretty chaotic. And so
there's your help. So it's already set up for you.
I plan on doing that. And I'm going to visit with him on my walk out of here. But what we discussed last week specifically is that those guys know that they're going to be doing that, and it's probably going to start this week. That's what I'm saying. The guys were up there hauling rock. And David and Bobby both have some places of spot work while the equipment was up there, while the guys are hauling up there. They are doing 3 different spots today to get 3 done in one day. And they know that they're going to be starting this project this week. And so as far as the measuring and stuff, that's going to be on Steven to go up. And that's what I said. I'm not for sure if he ended up going up there on Thursday or if that was part of it today. Because everybody has talked about it that's involved.
Well, I just think you should get with them and try to
Yeah,
try to get her going today.
Yes, and
this
that's
week.
what that is in the works.
How do you know for sure we need 2 new culverts in those places, Alexis?
Well, that was the exact reason I wanted the blade operators to come in. That was the suggestion. I had the office and asked to speak to whoever was on that route, and I believe it was Bobby Zacco, and he said that he knows and coordinated anything for material at that point, but he said he believed that the 2 culverts needed replaced before they did that. So that was exactly why I was asking what is, and because that would be the first step would be while you're digging up, fix it before you lay anything on top of it.
And that is the plan. It's just that today, because due to that circumstance of all the gravel, that's why they're getting that out of the way first. And we had already talked about the other part and those guys getting on that road.
It sounds like they got a plan in order here, Alexis, to do this.
I just don't have it on paper because it hasn't begun at today. And who knows, if they get their spot graveling done, they might be able to start doing that part today. We did just get the dang one call back in, and that just came in. I printed off the ticket today.
Awesome.
Yeah, so see, that all had to be done first.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
that's it.
You got anything else? You got anything
No,
else?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Probably enough.
And
isn't
thank
it?
you for Liz for stepping up and
You're welcome.
helping us do all this
Again,
in our current situation.
So
okay?
you know, on record, I'm probably a complete idiot doing this.
No.
But we're doing it all together, so it's working.
No, you're doing a very good job because you've given us a lot of information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
And Tanner's here.
Yes.
We ready for him, Alexis?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I got a number of things here I've been kind of working on. The first of which is you guys asked for me to develop kind of a structure replacement tool, like a spreadsheet showing different structure types that Lincoln County and some other counties have done. Put together some just general costs for each of them, then identify some parameters for each of those on when you could replace a structure with this type. So I have the spreadsheet on a flash drive. I guess I can leave it with Dawn when I leave. I went ahead and also printed off. So the spreadsheet has 4 tabs, and each of these is a tab. So I thought I'd just print it off and give you guys each a copy.
Sure.
So you can kind of see what we did.
You got one for Alexis?
Yeah, I got one for
We can
her.
put it on your pile, Alexis.
Yeah. So do you guys want me? I guess I can run through it.
Yeah, summarize it.
Okay. Yeah. So the first tab, it's actually the first 2 pages. I think there's 10 different structure types that you could replace a structure with. The first one was a low water crossing. Then we get into our simple spans with our steel beam and our precast concrete beam. And the fourth one there is a concrete box, a precast concrete box. And then your CMPs or your corrugated metal pipes. And then I know we replaced a couple structures with those half-round railroad tankers from the railroad yard down in Oklahoma. And then the next one, I know you had asked me to add flat cars. So
Well, check into it.
I reached out to them.
If it's feasible, why not?
Yeah, so I reached out to a supplier for these railroad tankers, and they run about 22,500 a piece. They're only like 9 to 10 foot wide, so you're gonna have to put a couple of them beside each other.
Put 2 together.
Yeah, and then another one of our concern was the load rating. So we actually found one that another county did. And as part of the state's doing the statewide load rating where they're going out and load rating all the bridges over 10 years. We actually found one and it was posted at 10 tons. So we feel, and I didn't ask for measurements to actually do a load rating for one, but this is based off of one that we found.
And that's not very much. So.
Yes.
So it's probably not very feasible to use these, right?
Typically when you put a new structure in, you get it for above legal, so you don't have to post
Sure.
it.
I just want you checked and you did. It
Yeah.
looks like they may not be very good. Huh?
Yeah.
I just had other counties tell me they're doing it, that's all.
Yeah, the counties we worked with, they haven't really pursued these quite a bit because of the load ratings.
Okay. Well, yeah, we don't want
But
to.
it's an option, if you guys could get one for cheap or something, and we have a road that's not really used a lot.
Well, the only reason one commissioner told me that he was working with, from Boyd up here in Mitchell County, working with Jewell County, and they were gonna do a $100,000 bridge. And Jewell says, hey, why don't we just do this, these bridge things, we do it for 20,000, or 40 with 2 of them, and, save 60 grand, and that's what I was told, so. But maybe it's not a feasible way to go, I don't know.
Yeah, and they're 89 foot long, so they're pretty long. You'd probably have to build you will have to build kind of abutment. It's probably drive some.
So they're only good up to 10 ton. I heard they were like 1.5 inches thick steel almost.
Not a lot of farm machine, but you get across.
Right. So they're going to have some restrictions.
Oh, no, yeah, that's true.
And that was based off the other engineer's load rating. Kirkham, Michael, we haven't actually got all the dimensions in the load rated one.
Sure.
If we want to go into that, I can.
Well, if you don't think they're feasible, no use going there.
Okay. So then the other 3 structures are kind of your bigger span structures. Your concrete haunch slab. That's the structure we replaced out at Off System 87, north and west of town here. And then your bigger steel beam spans, and then your precast concrete beam spans. So those are the 10 structures that we've seen counties replace.
How do you
structures
determine,
with.
like I said, the bottom 3, they're reinforced concrete, steel beams, precast, based on the situation and the amount of traffic and how long, then you determine which is best?
Yeah. So that's what, and every site, that is one thing about this. This is guidance. Every site's different. So I'll just keep going here. So then the third page would be the second tab. A lot of counties like to identify what design storm is acceptable for the county. So like a major collector, obviously you want the structure to be able to handle a larger design storm because you have more trucks and vehicles running across it. I made this tab and I put some design storms for major collectors, minor collectors, and then your local roads. So major collectors, I put a 10-year design storm. That's usually typically what we recommend on a heavy traveled route, and then your minor collectors, a 5 to 10 year storm possibly, and then your local road being a 5-year design storm, or if you want to put a low water crossing or something in there, that's a 2-year design storm. These are just chances that storm will happen. So we run the hydraulics, and with the hydraulics we can determine what a 10-year, a 5-year, and a 2-year storm is. So then we just run the hydraulics, determine what those are, and then we come up with a flow, and then size the structure accordingly. So that's what that tab is. And then your next page, so here is your input for the spreadsheet. So you pretty much put in your existing bridge name, or if it's an actual bridge size, it should have a state number. So you can, I think it's a 15-digit number. You can enter that, your bridge location, and then your drainage area. Drainage area is determined from, I have a bunch of topo maps, so I can sit down and pretty much draw out. You can see where the water breaks or the high points, so you can kind of draw an area, and then you flood the area and determine your drainage area, whether it being 1 square mile, 2 square miles, anything like that. And then it's got existing bridge opening height, and existing bridge length. So your drainage area is kind of important because DWR likes to see the structure the same or bigger. So if we do a structure smaller, then we've got to show some additional information to DWR, and then I think we've got to do some surveying at the back end by setting a benchmark or two. So here's some of the design parameters. The design ADT, usually you can just look at the SINA and the bridge file and come up with that, whether it be 20, 30, 40, 50, or 100 vehicles. Overtopping issues, that's another thing we added. So I know what we're doing right now, we're trying to find some local landowners that are kind of familiar with how things drain. We call them and say, hey, have there been any overtopping areas? Right now the hydraulics show that it's a 50-year storm. Do we need to put something that big? And if they come back and said, yeah, that thing gets overtopped pretty regularly, then we may keep the same size. So we added that, and then is the route has high volumes of traffic, or is the emergency route, a mail route, bus route, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you can enter that information also. So all the yellows are what you enter, and this is in draft form. I've sent it to Michael, and he was going to look through it and review it and then comment on it. So that's that tab. And then the last page is the final tab. And so after you enter all of that, you can see that there's a box for each of the different 10 structure types. And then beside it were the parameters that we identified to whether that structure could be a possible replacement option or not. And I went ahead and wrote those notes out so you could kind of see what we did, or what we initially kind of thought. If we want to adjust one of those parameters, and so right now Lincoln County has a lot of structures that are deep channels, like 15 to 20 foot. Well, if you pull a water crossing, you got to pull the roadway down, you need more right of way, so it's kind of tough. So I think we set on that if the opening height is less than 5.1 feet. So that'd be for a kind of a shallower channel, I guess, to be like a low water crossing. And so then if it meets those parameters, then the X pops up on the left-hand side right beside it, and then that could be a potential replacement option. Again, this is just guidance, so it's every site's a little bit different, things to deal with on each site. So yeah. And then the last one here are requirements. So this talks about permitting. Contact KDWPT, that stands for Kansas Division of Wildlife Parks and Tourism. We always reach out to them to see if there's any endangered species. To date, I haven't seen any endangered species where we need to do an action permit or anything in Lincoln County. Contact COE, which is the Corps of Engineers. We always typically reach out to them and let them know about a project. They usually issue a nationwide permit. It's pretty easy to get. And then DWR is a big one. So they've got some maps showing if the drainage area is 2 or greater in Lincoln County, you're supposed to get a permit with them. If it's less than if it's less than 2 square miles, then you don't need to get a permit.
Who's DWR?
Division of Water Resources.
Okay.
So they're based out of Manhattan. And then
So if you got drainage, which is a bigger area, than they have to sign off.
Then
on
2
it.
square miles, yep. Then you gotta submit it and get a permit.
Do they come out with inspectors then and look at it?
Typically, no. We haven't seen, usually the smaller county projects, we haven't seen them
Okay.
show up.
If it goes across county lines, the DWR has to come out,
Oh, okay.
or at least they bless it.
So that's that. I mentioned the survey or benchmark. We've had to do that on a couple of our projects where we put a little smaller structure in. So DWR does ask for a benchmark be put on the plan. So then one of the days I'm down, I go set a bar and then shoot a shots. So they want you set that at 100 and then you shoot the roadway surface, and then you give them elevation of the roadway and then also the channel. And then a bridge length structure, so you guys probably already know, it's 20 foot or greater, it's considered a bridge, and we gotta do biennial, annual inspections on it. And then whether a load rating is required or not. So if it is a bridge, KDOT requires that you do put a load rating and a set of plans into the bridge file when you do your inventory inspection. Yeah, so when you put a new structure in, so like 87, that's gonna get an inventory inspection on it, and then we gotta put a plans, a load rating, and then get on their web portal or online and fill out a bunch of information for the new structure. So that's just some information that you guys can kind of see that we've got to deal with.
Yeah, that's good. Good summary there of
So,
information.
Yeah, so if you guys could, is it okay if I leave it with Don,
Yeah.
or do you want me to email it to you?
No.
I've got it on a spreadsheet
Yeah.
or a flash drive.
I think that'd be
For
good.
that, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and if you guys look through it and comment, like, hey Tanner, what if we change this a little bit? Just free feel to email me or call me or anything, and we can, get that adjusted to how you guys
No, it's a
feel.
good summary of all this stuff. It's just, I'm not sure you have, how you make decisions about what to do. I suppose you have
Right.
to do an evaluation, then go from there, huh?
Yeah, usually, so Michael and I, we usually visit the site, and he usually, I think he's got an inventory of what he has on site.
Based
so-
on requirements for each
Right,
project,
right. So usually we go and visit the site, I get some measurements, take a lot of pictures, and then we usually go and run hydraulics, run a drainage area to figure out if it's sized properly, if it's not, and then.
You know now, maybe we do, do we have a priority list of all of our bridges that need work done in the county or fixed? Do I say, and this is critical, number one, this is, in other words,
Yeah.
do we have a priority?
So I think Michael and I kind of developed that. I think that was a year or two ago when I
Okay.
first started this.
That's fine.
I don't know if he's been updating it or
Yeah.
what, but I know we kind of went through and developed.
And
kind
currently, what are we doing, about one or two a year of them bigger bridges?
Yeah. So last year we had contractor do 87 north and west of town, and then Jesse and the bridge crew did 105 just west of town.
Right.
So I think they were only able to do one, the county forces.
And now count culverts is obviously that's easier, and you don't have to get involved with that much, do you?
Yeah, so like culvert less than 20, we're not going to need.
Engineering, you?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. You can if you want, but
Well,
we're not going to need it for the bridge file to
right.
give to the state.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's how you guys. I usually typically recommend still doing the permits for a culvert, and then as far as replacement structure, then it's kind of up to you guys. If you've got some pipes and inventory that you want to use, I know the county's got a bunch of like 9-foot steel plates that you can build arches out of. So we talked about maybe using that to build an arch. So so it's kind of depends on your guys' budget.
Now, some of these, Alexis brought this up before, we have some of these old bridges, these limestone ones, which are like historical. Do you
Right.
get involved in that, or with engineering with us on something like that? Would that be a specialized outfit, or what?
So we can, if you want to, I think that was my next item here for the tuck point project.
Yeah,
If you
tuck
want to go out and tuck point some projects, then we can help develop specs and that kind of stuff. We did one in Barton County where we helped develop like a spec for the tuck pointing. So if you guys need help with that, I actually, just while we're talking about it, I kind of made a map showing. So we inspect the bridges every 2 years. Typically, if they're in pretty bad shape, then we got to do it every year. They require an annual inspection. So our inspector develops a maintenance list, so some items on what you can do to go and just regular maintenance on the structure. So this one right here, clean out cell number 2. So there's probably silt build up in that cell. So we developed this list, and so what I did is I looked for any place that we said tuck point and repair flow line stones. So I went and highlighted each of those,
Okay.
and then I kind of made a map
I
showing where they're all at. So I didn't
Oh,
know
good,
if,
yeah, Matt.
and some counties will, okay, we want to put $100,000 to tuck pointing, then we can kind of prioritize these and say, okay, let's try to do bridge 1, 2, and 3. If we get good prices, then we'll have alternate 4 and 5. So something like that.
I know it's kind of out of your area probably, but do you know of grants that we could get, like historical money grant or anything like that to help with that stuff? And I know that's not really up to your ballpark
That's a
here.
good. I'm trying to think if we've done that on any other projects.
Lexus,
I'll have to look.
Lexus, you probably know about that, right? Getting grants for this stuff. Are you there?
Yes, some will be available, but remember the structure has to already be approved and registered on the registry for either the state or the national one, and I believe right now we don't have very many, so that would be part of the process.
Okay.
For example, I do know that the double arch stone bridge north of Sylvan there on 181
Is listed as a historical bridge, right?
it's registered.
Registered, right? Yeah, that's the word.
I provide a little bit
Right,
of.
so in order to get any money, we would have to be registering them.
And then, too, then you got to comply with
Yes.
a special builders or special people who are experts at fixing that stuff, right?
Right.
You just don't get a regular bridge crew people in there.
Yeah, so like if we put together a spec for a grout, then they have to review it and approve it. So that's a little bit of caution the counties have is when you do register them, then they do fall under their kind of jurisdiction.
Right.
So usually counties don't go out and register all their stone arch bridges, but
It would be mainly specific ones that we knew qualified or needed minimal maintenance, but I have been asking for a list of all of them so that we could begin the bidding process on repairs.
yeah, and I've got that right here of all the ones that our inspector found to have that needs to be tuck pointed, and I can leave that with you guys.
Yeah, you only have one copy or
So here's, yeah, so there's 2 maps, and here's the list of the maintenance list with the ones
we could just,
highlighted.
why don't you leave it with, maybe with Dawn, or, because we only have one copy here, right?
Okay.
Well, we could leave it with Alexis.
And then some of the things I saw, some of the structures that were needing some tuck pointing weren't stone arches. So there really was, let's see, 1, 2, 3 of them were actually stone arches. The rest, a couple of them were like steel beams, so they built their steel beams on top of a stone abutment. So the engineer, whoever designed it, thought the stone abutment was in good enough shape that they could just put their beams on that.
Okay.
So I try to write out beside here kind of what each structure is. So like SB is steel beam, arch. Do you want me to maybe prioritize them or put together an in-depth list like that, or?
I don't know, Alexis, what do you think?
Well, that would definitely be helpful, especially while we're going through some changes right now, and I wanted to look at the budget and what we could do to begin that process here with the rest of the year. So yes, if you would do that as far as what you've been working on for us as a continuing project, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I can do that. Just go back and look at the condition of each one and everything. Yeah.
Okay. And those copies we could just,
Yeah, you can.
Let's
Have
leave
these
it here. I'll put it-
information.
I'll just leave these, Alexis, he gave us the maps and some other information. There's only one copy, I'll just leave that on your pile. Then you can have that for reference, okay?
Thank you.
Anything else, Tanner?
Yeah, I've got a lot.
Okay. Okay, well.
So we still have time. Do we need
Oh,
to
sure.
take a break or anything?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We got through that. Okay, we got through the tool, tuck point projects. I'll prioritize that. All right, the next thing I got here is the wind farm. So we finally got a response. we had sent some emails back a couple months ago trying to get some more information from the Enel because they're doing the repower on Smoky Hill 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I finally got a response on some of the questions we had. So right now, tentatively schedules, they're planning, or tentatively scheduled, they're planned on working on the civil work. So civil work includes all the turning radiuses, any upgrades to the roads that they need to do to bring the components in. On Smoky Hills 2 in the fourth quarter of 2019. So this year, the fourth quarter. For Smoky Hills 1, they're planning the civil work for the second quarter of 2020. So I assume they'll probably work on Smoky Hills 2 and then fall into
And
Smoky
that's
Hills
starting
1.
this fourth quarter this year,
Yes.
which is coming October,
Yes.
November, December,
Yeah.
huh?
So it's
Really,
coming up.
that's early. And what does that, again, that silver work mean?
So it's civil work. The wind farms usually have like your electrical crew, your civil crew, your collection line crew. The civil work is all the dirt work. So
Okay.
making turning radiuses for the big component trucks that require a huge turning radius. Upgrading the roads, so if they feel like the road's not going to be able to handle all the heavy loads, then they'll come and maybe add rock to it. If they need to, do anything to the structures, so maybe a structure that's posted, so they may have to crib it or anything like that. That's what they would do. So then Smoky Hill 2, they would actually install the new component pieces in the second to third quarter of 2020. So, and that was another question we had, is what exactly do you mean by component pieces? So for the Smoky Hill 2, they're going to put in new drivetrains and rotors, and then new major components, gearboxes, generators, and so on and
Wow,
so
that's
forth.
a lot.
Yeah, so I think they're going to do a pretty good overhaul on these. And in Smoky Hills 1s, they're going to put new nacelles and rotors, and then gearboxes, generators, and some other stuff. So they're going to do a
How
pretty
many, do you know how many windmills there are for each, like Smoky Hill 1 and Smoky Hill 2?
Yeah, so they actually gave me a map, kind of showing, and I can forward you guys all this information too.
Yeah, you can, I don't know that as well.
Okay, so I'd have to sit down and count.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think
No,
there's quite a few.
Well, you don't have to worry about that. I just had it if you knew that approximately. Then we had the one issue was with when they take about the old components, what they do with them. Are we gonna? One time we heard they were gonna cut them up and haul them off.
Right.
But then I've heard maybe they're not, and some people were concerned they're gonna dump them out some guy's pasture up there. So do you have any idea what they're gonna do with that?
That could be a follow-up question I can ask. Is what do you guys plan to do?
Well, because
with,
there's, that was.
No, and that's
Somebody
a great,
was wanting to get one of them blades and maybe bring it down here and put it in a park or something as a kind of a, like a tourist landmark thing that we're a windmill county community. Now I don't know how feasible that would be to do that, right? Or if that's, you probably have to have a special trailer truck to haul that here.
right. You take a pretty big
Right,
truck
and that's a different issue.
stabilize it so it doesn't
That's
roll
something we don't
over.
need to know, but we do want to, we are concerned, make sure what they're doing with the old components, and that they don't, and I don't know, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's right or wrong, somebody may want them, some farmer may want them out here. I don't
Right.
know.
right.
Or I don't know what to do with them, but.
So I'll respond to that and ask him that question. That's a good question. Component pieces.
Because they're gonna have a lot of extra parts when they take them all apart, right?
Right.
You know?
And I think they originally reached out to Michael about taking them to the landfill.
See, this stuff doesn't degrade, so when you
Right.
put it in the landfill.
And that's a tremendous amount of stuff too.
Right. It's 3 blades for each turbine.
Yeah, them
so if
things
there's
are-
100 turbines. That's 300 million, and they're 150 foot long by like
Yeah.
8 foot diameter.
Exactly,
They're
there's
pretty big.
that's why there's a big
Yeah.
concern what they're gonna do with that stuff.
Right. Right.
Now, if somebody wanted one of them blades to put up somewhere as kind of like a Lincoln County landmark thing, that we're a windmill county, maybe I'm not against that
I
necessarily.
think if they look at that, they'll find out that those cannot be used where people can touch them and beat on them, because they'll break and then you'll have cracks and chips and hazards.
You could have a liability issue, huh?
Serious.
think
Yeah, maybe better not do that
A
then.
wood baffle with a fiberglass outside a surface.
Is that what they are, fiberglass?
That's what I think they are.
And that, chips and dings on that,
Right.
first thing you know, you got a real hazard.
Yeah, well, that may be true, I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a question, what they're doing with the
Right.
ones they're taking apart.
Okay. And so the reason I brought it up, we discussed a road maintenance use agreement. So now since we got some answers, I plan on kind of putting some language in the road maintenance use agreement, because stuff that we've learned, I do a lot of wind farm work, looking at roadways before and after and looking at the structures. So this agreement was back from 2007. We've learned a lot on maybe how to protect and cover the county, like dust control and some things like that. So I'm planning on adding some of that language, and then next month I'll bring it to you guys. And then if you guys want to review it, we usually ask for the county attorney to I'm not an attorney, I'm an engineer.
Yeah, we would.
So I usually have the
I'm not an attorney either.
county attorney make sure my language is okay. And so they're pretty much just told me to present to you guys, and then once we feel good with the road maintenance, we'll give it to them, and I think they'll sit down and
if they're going to use the existing roads we have that a lot of them they created the first time
Right.
around. They're going to basically use those again, but they may have to upgrade them somehow based on they're not be in condition they like. And so we
Right.
give them when we give a road maintenance agreement, we're giving them the authority to go ahead and do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So typically, I like to do a pre-inspection of the roads. So you go videotape them, and also take photos, measure roadway width, the amount of gravel, look at all the pipes, and then do it again.
I have a question or
Yes.
a request.
Yes.
Is there a way that when you take those pictures, they can be saved so that we can upload them into our Mobile 311 program?
So our pictures are all taken with the GPS camera. So I can give you a KMZ file of the photos, and they're pretty much in Google Earth. They're put right where they were taken. So I don't know if you could use that
I
to
think
put it
the
into
The
311.
program.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah. So there may be a way.
You know, when they do this maintenance, say they have to fix some road, our county highway department does not get involved in that at all with them, or do we coordinate and help them in any way?
Typically the counties. Now every county's a little bit different how they want to set up. Typically they do all the improvements, and then usually the maintenance. If the county wanted to do the maintenance and maybe enter into an agreement with them, so much per hour to help with maintenance. We've had a couple counties do that, but typically they we make them install because we know the county's got other projects they're working on.
Other stuff to do, yeah.
Right.
And if they'll do that, and it's
Yeah.
fine, I'd say let them do it. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if we had to kind of oversee it since it is our county.
And that's something else.
And if
like,
somebody drives up there and wrecks on one of the roads that they're working on, are we liable or are they liable?
That's a good question. So I think with the road maintenance agreement, that's why I think some of the counties have them install the improvements and assume the maintenance on them. And so then they're pretty much checking the roads out.
Wouldn't that be something that's addressed in the contract?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, make sure we have that in the contract to address that.
I would think that they carry pretty decent liability insurance.
Yeah, so I think typically counties usually ask for 1 or 2 million. I'm trying to think if your guys has had anything in here. Yeah, so before you guys had $1 million for insurance.
Those parties would probably be listed in my assumption if something did happen.
Okay. Right. Yeah. And so, so we've done a couple of these repowers. Some of the counties, so our fees, we make it reimbursable by them. So then you guys, it's free.
Good.
Make them pay for it. Some other counties have asked for like a part-time inspector to go out, once a month or something and just drive the roads and make sure they're in good enough shape. Other counties feel the pre and the post are fine. I don't know if you guys had a preference on how, and I can write it in to provide a full-time guy and then let them come back and say we don't want that or something. It's kind of whatever you guys kind of want.
Could we ask for a mid-project inspection? That way there's pre, post, and mid?
Yeah, you could do that too. That's because usually, so this is a repower. A lot of the projects that are new, we do like to do a full-time inspection just because they're so hectic for the counties and a lot of stuff going on. Since this is a repower, then yeah, I think maybe just a mid-inspection or a quarter inspection or something, that would probably be fine.
That's what I would suggest, but I'm open to anyone else's input.
Well, that sounds good to me. How about you,
Okay.
Jim? You got any questions? Yeah, Jim's shaking his head yes, so
Okay.
sounds good.
Okay. So I will add some language to that, and then I'll send it to you guys and the attorney.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
you
we'll have
guys
our attorney
look at
review it. We'll review it, then we'll have the attorney
Yeah.
review it.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. So that's that. Okay, next thing. All the stuff coming up here. Wind farm repower. So bridges. So KDOT issued. Alexis, you remember last year there was an off-system bridge program. So KDOT issued an off-system bridge program for federal fiscal year 2020, and what it includes is the county can apply into the program. It's got to be an off-system bridge, so everything on minor collectors and local roads, and they can get money to help replace the structure. So off-system 87 was an off-system road bridge. So it was an 80-20 split for the construction, and since we're using KDOT money, the construction engineer. So having an inspector on site full time. The county's got to come up with design, survey, geotech, and any land acquisition or in right of way or anything like that. They've got to pay for that 100%. So it's
I'm sorry, you said that. I didn't hear. Is there a specific bridge you mentioned?
No, so that's what I'm getting to here. So we got that in the mail. We got a letter from the state saying, hey, we're calling for projects. I think it's due in a month. And so I went and looked at the one last year. So typically we got one the year before. We submitted last year. Typically they don't give you one back to back. So this year, it's been a year, so we have a good chance of getting one, I guess. So I looked at the structure that we submitted last year, and it was off system 80 or off system 107. It's kind of down south and west, actually south of Quartzsite. So we're able to get letters of support from Quartzsite. I think it was on a mail route. There are a couple farmers that live there close that we got letters of support. So I reached out also to KDOT and said, hey, are any of the criteria changed as far as the selection? Typically they put emphasis on the structure being fracture critical. So that's your steel trusses. So fracture critical, you got two members. If one breaks, the bridge is going to fail. Usually when we design a structure now, it's non-fracture critical, so it's got internal redundancy. So I reached out to KDOT and said, hey, is this one still a good candidate for that? And they said, well, it is fracture critical. It has a low sufficiency rating, but this year we're putting more emphasis on the condition ratings. So when our bridge inspector goes and inspects a bridge, he has kind of a book with guidelines on how to rate the conditions of it. So your condition rating is how does your deck look? What's your rating for your deck? Your superstructure, so that's your main, just below your deck, pretty much your support. Your substructure, so that'd be pretty much your piling and stuff that goes down into the earth. And then the channel, and then if it's a culvert, then a condition rating for the culvert. So they say they're looking for 4 or less on those. So I looked at 107, and it pretty much has all 5s, 3 5s and 1 6. So that's not 4 or less. So then KDOT said it'd be, it's still fracture critical. It's a decent structure, but if you have other structures worse than this, to apply with that also and do a second application. So if there's money they're going to rate both of them. If there's money for both of them, one will get selected, whichever one we want. But there may not be, pretty much selecting another bridge that's worse than this one that has a worse condition rating. So I sat down and I sorted the data. And so I sorted it by your sufficiency rating and also your condition ratings. And I highlighted the 4s or less. So I may need some guidance from you guys on which ones you actually want. But here's some of the highlighted structures. The first one that showed up was a 100-foot fracture critical steel truss. It had a current posting of 3 tons. And it was all system 12. And it has an ADT of 20. So that's something that I'm going to ask for some input. Are some of these structures a higher priority? Do they have a feedlot by them? Or so off system 120.
Is that 112 ones you said?
Yeah, 112, sorry.
That's that, where's the Rocky, that low water crossing there, Rocky Hill Road now? Is that what that
It's
is?
south and east of
Yeah.
Lincoln.
Yeah. I think that's the low water crossing. Well, maybe not, I'm not sure.
Maybe the one north of there.
Oh, it's the one north of there, on
Yeah.
that little bridge. Oh, that is an old bridge there,
Right.
isn't it? Oh, yeah.
Right.
I can see that being, I'm surprised that you guys hadn't closed it down already.
Right, but it's,
You know where it is, where Vernon Loman has his little feedlot there.
2 miles,
Yeah.
Does this list
You know.
include
Yeah.
bridges that are already closed?
so if it's closed within, I wanna say 12 or 24 months, then yeah, you can. Once it's been closed for so long, then it would.
I used to haul mail crossing, that
think
So it
thing.
won't even be on your list,
I
'cause
wouldn't want to go across
So
there.
the bridges that are closed, yeah, no, cause they're not a bridge, or they're closed, so it's not in
so they
KDOT's
wouldn't even be in
inventory.
contention, cause there are bridges, like the one where McBride's live, that bridge has been closed for a long time, is that not even on this list for
Yeah, so if it's
replacement?
closed, then we're not doing, this was all the ones we inspected, so I guess that's why I'm asking for you guys' input. So if there's,
Randy,
The other commissioners have a suggestion as far as bridges that's been brought to their
that bridge has
attention,
been out
even if
for
they're
a long
closed.
time, but that road used to be used a lot, but the
You
bridge
mean
has
the
been.
River Bridge, south, north of their house? That's open, isn't it?
No, it's been closed for years, you have to go all the way, basically to the court, you know, that where that,
Yeah,
that Walker plant is.
I don't know where that is on
But
there.
it's not, it doesn't show it, it's not part of the, it's not even part of the question.
Because I think we closed it.
They closed the bridge,
Oh.
but
And then
it
there was-
deserves to be open, that's
and then there
a
was, I
busy,
think,
that could be a busy road again.
I think there was another program years back where you could close one, get more money to replace another one, so, yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about?
know that is, yeah,
Yeah,
but I don't know if we'd have to open it again.
So I think, yes,
well, no, I mean, you'd be rebuilding, right?
Yeah,
That would be rebuilding.
yeah, and I think it's been closed within so many months, you can still use it, but if it's been over so long, then I think
It's been.
and I have to check with KDOT on that one.
There would be a lot of farmers who would be really happy to have that bridge open.
yeah. I know there's a lot of bridges that we need to fix.
So where's it at? I could maybe look back to see, you know, our files in the bridge file.
Here, I can show you on here probably.
Let's see.
If it's to be, there's
Oh,
Lincoln,
that
so
Spillman
it'd
Creek Bridge,
What's
be, or
that?
the river.
is that the Spillman Creek Bridge you're talking about?
No, this one's on the river, just north of Rick McBride's house, about half mile. And that'd be a big bridge, a river, over the river.
Right.
Maybe 92 or 98 on there.
298.
That's on the river, I think, isn't it? I can show you better, I don't know. It's 150th Street, 150th
98.
Road there.
Oh, okay, 98. Looks like 98.
Yeah. So
So that's an off
it's
system.
on 150th Road and the river. Well, there you go. We got, you know, there's a lot of bridges that could be used, but we don't have a certain amount of money to do all this stuff.
Well, if it's the difference between opening a bridge that's been closed but would really benefit the people who pay the taxes over one that can still be used, I think reopening a road would be better than,
Yeah, well, you got, what do you have on there? You have like 20 or 30 or 50 bridges, right?
Yeah.
We have money for, what, 1 or 2 a year?
Right. Lincoln
Now,
County
the small
does-
ones with the culverts, of course, you can fix, or the low water bridges maybe. But for the bigger, anything 20 foot or bigger is a real bridge. And you're talking 50 to 100 grand or more, right? Depends on how big it is, right?
Yeah, it just depends how big.
So you gotta prioritize here. And Rona, you got a good point here. I'm not saying you don't, it's just, we probably have 20 in the county, maybe, not 20, but maybe 5 to 10.
this is one that.
I know, it's a
people
major
are-
one.
People are going way out of their way to get to their fields.
That ain't on the river, that's open up and across it, isn't it? Maybe, no, I haven't, that's, you're right.
What'd
No,
you
I-
say it was that?
That's open, over the river there.
I gotta look, let me look at it.
Cause I took
Okay.
that bridge, I've taken that bridge straight north to look at the Spillman, where the Spillman, you guys closed down, you guys put it,
Bridge
because
I'm
they were
talking
worried
about
about the Spillman was
specifically is
getting too close to
completely
150th, and washing out, Michael put out, some road closed signs because some farmers were mad because they wanted to drive through there.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Right there by 18
That one.
highway, 18 highway 150.
okay, okay. Now I know
I'm
what
not
you're
even
talking
sure if
about.
this one shows it.
I'm not either. I'm not sure
I don't
exactly.
think that even shows the bridge. 'Cause
Well, I'm not
the-
sure, Mona,
the
where you're
bridge
talking
Right, could
is
it-
up there. Yeah.
Well, whatever. We got, you know, we could do a lot of these, you know, who's.
Being we have only a month, so we really need to narrow this down and give him some instruction.
Yeah, 'cause-
I need to see one.
Well, what would
Well,
you're the expert here. What would you?
So we
don't know nothing.
I
about it.
sorted the data. I found a bridge that's 100 foot long, so it had some like 20 to 30 to 40 footers. I know the counties, you know, I gave them kind of a generic set of plans for 30 footers. And so if the county's wanting to maybe do some of these themselves, so I found a 100 footer. This is getting pretty big. This one has 3 tons posting. It is fracture critical, and it's got a super and a substructure condition rating of 4. It's off system 112.
Is that 102?
That
you
was,
showed us?
yeah, or the 112, the one southeast of town. So that's the first one that came up when I sorted them.
You need direction from us to say go ahead with that?
Right, exactly. So if you guys want another, so I plan on also using the last time's 107, submitting that. KDOT said it'd probably be good since Lincoln County has a lot of structures in bad condition to
Well,
replace.
Alexis,
another
you
one.
was saying we only have a month here to determine this?
Yeah, so the deadline is.
Why is that?
So they
Is that our budget for the
It's
year?
the grant deadline.
Yeah.
Oh, the grant deadline.
Yeah, so they
Okay.
set a deadline.
Okay.
And I think it's August, let's see here, August 16th
Well, you have a priority,
deadline.
and you determine this is a very critical, dangerous one that needs fixed. Needs attention to, right?
Yeah, it's 3 tons. Yeah,
I know where it is.
I don't want to do one, and you guys are, why don't you do this other one? It's a higher priority. You
Well,
guys have more, you talk to the locals and stuff a little bit more than I do.
Well,
so-
yeah, well, I think, do we need a motion to tell him to do this, Alexis?
Thank you.
Not necessarily a motion, but do we need another week to discuss? I mean,
Well,
I'm-
how long, you
I don't
have a
know.
month yet to do it, before the grant would run out.
Yeah, usually, like 107, I called like the school and the post office, and it was a mail route and a bus route, so I got letters of support from them. KDOT says that does make your application look better, so it'd be nice to have, you know, a week or two to be able to call
That's
some of these
107
people.
or 112,
107. was
which
the
is
one.
where?
It's down south of Quartzsite.
Oh, I know where that is, yeah.
It's like a 60 or 70 foot.
That's on the Bullfoot Creek there. Okay, they're by Dan Haynes, the way it looks. Well, either that or that 112, they're both be good. They're both got serious critical problems, though, that would need to be addressed. Well, the one with the bus route and the, that one's a mail route too, 112 is
Yeah.
a mail route, because I've taken it.
Okay.
But, well, yeah, we could put it off a week yet, like, to discuss this, Alexis, you wanna do that?
Yeah, I mean, if there's some additional input that we may have, I mean, we could email it or,
Yeah.
you know, get any information we want over to Dawn, I suppose. I don't necessarily have a suggestion off the top of my head. I'm just saying.
No, I don't either. I just going by what Tanner says here, his recommendations, because they're the most critical in need of fixing. We have a
Right.
month to get this, use this grant, so we gotta determine one of these.
Yeah, and I can
Right.
leave you all this data and stuff, and
Maybe you should.
Yeah.
And we can, Monday, you'll be here Alexis Monday, right, next week?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Me too. So maybe we could review that a little better, and then, I think either one of these is probably deserving. I don't know if one's more deserving than the other, do you?
I don't know how you would pick between them.
Yeah, they both need fixed. They both need fixed.
right.
So we'll pick one of them.
Okay. And if you want me to, I'll have to check my schedule, but if it's open on Monday and you want me to come, I can come here. Let's do one of these.
You want him to come back in next Monday,
We
Alexis?
can just send him. We can mail him or email
Okay.
him.
Or email you, tell you what we decided.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, then you don't have to come in for that.
So there's that.
Well, you've explained it well here. I'll put all this on your pile again, Alexis.
Thank you.
And then here's, so here's the application for 107 we did. Here's a blank one that I'll have to fill out. And also, I guess, here's the letter we got from the state.
Okay. I'll put all this on here too, in one place. We'll review it next Monday and make a decision.
Okay.
Before the deadline runs out.
Okay. Okay, let's see. That. Lots of stuff going on.
Now, when you say this, we just have to have the application into the state for get grant money. When the work being done, maybe 6 months, a year from now.
Yeah, so it's federal fiscal year 2021. So it's going to be, if you get it selected, then it's going to take a year to design it, do all survey, get the right-of-way acquisition,
So
and
it'd be
then
might be 2 years.
yeah, it'll be 2 years.
Oh, so it's that far out.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's a little ways out. So
Okay.
87, I think we got selected 2 years before that one happened.
We got to go through all the
Yep.
stuff.
KDOT's got pretty much a checklist,
Sure.
and they
all the
usually
procedures
review.
and the policies and the
Right.
bureaucracy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else?
So let's see here. Okay, so it's the off-system call for projects. While we're talking about bridges, I've got a contract for the annual inspections. So there's actually 4. So in the bridge, when we inspect the bridges on the bridge report, it comes up with yearly inspections. So this showed we had 4 of them. So the condition range is probably a 3 or less. So there's some requirements that the state requires that annual inspections be done of them.
3 out of a 5.
So it's 4. It's actually 4 out of all of them. So 4 of them have a condition rating of less than or equal to 3. So now the state requires that an annual inspection be completed.
What's the scale? What's a 3?
So
is it a 5, the highest, or a 10?
10.
Or-
10.
Oh, 10. So we're
Yeah.
at 3, so we're pretty low.
Yes.
That's
Yep,
not
yep.
good, right?
Yeah, usually a new bridge is a 9 or a 10
Okay.
or an 8 right up there.
All right.
So 3 is getting pretty. I think if it's 2 or less, I think they may require you to close it. So,
Okay.
so the state asks the counties to do annual inspections on stuff when it gets that bad. So I have a contract. We did them last time, so it's the same price.
You need that today.
The renewal.
Yeah, so pretty much it's just you sign it. I think they're due in October.
Okay.
So if I just have it signed by October, or
Yeah.
you guys can take it and review it, or
Yeah.
um,
You could leave that here too.
yeah, I'll just 2 of them. So you guys will sign one and keep it for your records, and then I'll need a copy for my records.
Okay. We'll put them here in the pile again here.
Okay.
We have a big pile, Alexis, with
So,
the.
brings-
I could. I could keep till next week, so we just don't want to lay in here all this stuff, but we'll keep it in one.
Okay.
Okay, so
See,
Well, there you go. We got a combination for it.
inspections off system.
That thing.
Okay, so last time I was down, Michael and I went and looked at structure on Rye Drive. Are you guys familiar with it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's pretty bad shape. They put some barricades up.
Way
to
up by
close the
Hunter
road.
up there?
Do what?
Way up by Hunter?
Yeah.
No, not that far north, I guess. Northwest though, right?
It's just north of my house.
Oh, okay. Not that far west then.
No,
Okay.
it's only about 2.5 miles.
Well, I'm not
off.
familiar with it then. I was thinking of
It's
something
about
different.
2.5 miles off. of
Oh, okay.
14.
I'm not familiar. Anyway, what?
Okay,
Your
so
house?
here's some
It's
maps.
north of my house, about 2.5 miles off of 14. Or
that's,
2.
that's not on Rye then, is it?
It is on right. I'm not on right, but
Oh.
This problem is.
Yes, there should be a point on that
Yeah.
Google Earth map showing
Number
where it's
14,
at.
number
And then
14.
here's a little closer. So I think Mr. Friesen lives there, just south of there.
Oh, freezing, yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of tracked him down. We were able to meet with him. He's still wanting to be able to run his cattle through there. So right now it's like a 10-foot span by like 14 foot at the peak of the arch structure. So he's got some pens on the south side. And I think he owns property on both sides. He likes to run his cattle through there, and he'd still like to be able to keep that, be able to run his cattle under the roadway. So I ran the hydraulics. The structure is really oversized, so we could put something a lot smaller in there. After speaking with him, we discussed the option of putting a railroad tanker, a 10-foot diameter, not a half one, a full one, and then sinking it like a foot, so then the bottom of that tanker is dirt. So if his cattle run through, they're not slipping and falling and stuff. And then getting a 60-footer. So we've got 60-footer right of way in there. The thing is, I think from the channel to the roadway is like almost 20 foot. So it's a pretty big opening. So if we took if we put a 10-foot diameter pipe in there and have it about 60 foot long, we'd still have to slope down, from 20 down to 10, and we'd still have to drive kind of like a wall, like a sheet pile wall, to kind of keep, all that stuff away from his pens and stuff and stay on the county right away.
Have you seen that bridge?
Here's pictures of it. And that's the structure. You can see the damage.
Have you ever seen that?
I don't think I have, no.
Well, it's instructive to go out and look, because coming from the west, you're coming off a hell of a steep hill.
Yeah.
Oh, there it
And
is.
you probably need to start your cut probably 100 yards farther west. I don't know how you're gonna, I
So
really don't know how you're gonna make that work.
Right, because there's a lot of rock there. So I'm
Uh-huh.
sure they just
It's
followed
just-
the rock.
Yeah.
So you would take this out?
Yeah, so we would remove
You
that
would
whole
remove all
structure.
this, but put in what you're wanting to put in, you said?
Yeah, so
That
if you-
structure's not sound anymore.
yeah, so we talked about repairing it, going in there, driving sheet piling, but it's like, I don't think we want people banging on stuff right by it. We're scared the whole thing's gonna
Yeah.
come down. So we closed it for now. So that's what we're thinking. We're thinking a 10-foot diameter railroad tanker. We got an email from the railroad yard. General purpose tank, 10-foot diameter, 60-foot wide. It has a 0.45-inch wall thickness, and then they would cut a head wall for it that we can tie our sheet piling into, and it's $17,550. And then the other option was a pressure car. It's a little bit thicker wall thickness, 59.5 foot, and it's the same price, $17,550.
What's the load rating or the tonnage that it can handle?
Oh, that's a good question. So I looked at that. Since we're gonna have probably 7 to 10 foot of fill, it's legal loads.
Okay.
So typically it's 2 foot. You need to put 2 foot over these structures to be able to meet legal loads. So it won't need to be posted or anything.
Okay.
Like that.
That hauls a lot of harvest traffic.
Right.
That's the only good road between, actually, Ash Grove Road and 14.
Right. Yeah.
That's the only through road.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that gets you over the highway very quick.
So then again, it's like, can the county do this themselves? I spoke with some of the guys, and they kind of feel like they don't have the equipment to be able to drive all the piling and that kind of stuff. That's when excavator was brought up. So do we want to, send it out to bid to a contractor? Do you want me to put some plan sheets together and some bid docs? I guess I'm curious on what do you guys want to do with this structure?
Is there a deadline date for doing any of this stuff?
No, it's just getting the road open back up sooner.
And you can go around that.
And just a draw, and she needs to draw.
You got a dirt.
Hello?
That you can go around.
I'm sorry, my phone died.
Okay, your phone died. Well, Tanner's
I'm
just
back.
Tanner's just, I don't know where you dropped off, but Tanner's talking about this road on what street?
It's Rye Drive.
Rye Drive, this old limestone structure currently,
Okay.
but he's promoting to put a different, like a train car right up around it. In other words, about how to fix this road, what technique to do. I don't know, where did you drop off, Alexis? Alexis, you there?
I was only gone.
Okay. You're dropping off a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had poor signal and my battery died. So I heard most of what he said there. I was just gone for a minute. I called right back.
He was wanting to know, since he didn't know, he talked to our highway department guys and they didn't think maybe they could do it ourselves because of the piling issue. We probably can't handle that, so we want to know if we should put out bids to get this done. Do you have any input on that?
I have not seen it. So I guess we should just do what we did with the bridge to the west there, which was just bid out the piling. Actually, I think we got them to do two at once when they came last time. I take that back. They were already working on the bridge up the road. I think it was 87. So they went ahead while they had their equipment and drove the pile for the one, I believe it was 105.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of different structure type. This one's going to be a 10-foot diameter pipe. That 105 was a steel beam structure. You know, we could do a steel beam also. Could be a structure type. Yeah. But we would have to, you know, drive some pile.
So could you get us an idea of what exactly needs done so that we had something to bid out?
Yeah, and if you want me to, I can put together a set of plans.
Maybe bid request, you said, right?
Right, yeah. So typically, I think if it's over 25,000, the county was supposed to go out for bids. So yeah, I can put together kind of some maybe proposed designs, and we can move forward with the design and then go out to bid. Yeah, if that's where I'm just looking for direction on. Is that what we want to do? I can put together some designs, and we can go. And next time I meet, I can show you them.
I think that'd be good, don't you, Alexis?
Are you able to design something that we can just bid out the piling and what needs done, and to get us to the point where our own crew can do the superstructure of it?
Yeah, so typically we show the whole project, and then we show the pieces that the county forces are going to be to complete. So if you guys want to take the old structure out, and then, you know, remove all the rock and get the road ready and everything, and then you could have the contractor, you know, set the pipe, and then drive all the sheet piling, and then the county could do the dirt work themselves. Yeah, that can be something we've done in the past if the county wants to do a portion of it. So we could break that out.
Probably save us some money.
Right.
Well, I think at this point, that would be our tactic, to get done what needs to be done that's outside of our scope of ability, and then continue on with our own bridge crew, because that way we could get 2 or 3 of those working at the same time, rather than just devoting all of our resources to subbing out the entire project.
Okay. So yeah, I can put together kind of a proposal on, you know, what I would do, and maybe show what we would, you know, what the contractor could do, and maybe get with Michael and them, say, hey, can you guys do this, that kind of stuff, and then make a list of, okay, the contractor's to perform this, and then we could
Highway Department perform this.
Right.
That's something, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
This is gonna be more complicated than the average bridge, because you have such a difference in elevation on the west side and the east side.
Yes.
This isn't gonna be cheap, no matter how you do it.
Right, because that 10 foot, I think there's like 17 foot from the bottom of the channel to the roadway. So we put a 10-foot structure in, so now we got to slope down 7 foot, and then we'd have our walls on each side, our 10-foot walls. And then your sheet piling, you really need to support it every so often, so you probably need to drive an H-pile, and then maybe put some whalers, they call them, between them, because that sheet pile, if you don't put that, it starts bowing out. And then, so there's going to be a little bit to it.
Do you design that?
Yeah, yep, we can.
Well, that's probably the best option, don't you think, to do that?
I think so.
Okay.
We were kind of throwing around some other ideas, and I was like, I think this is probably going to be the best, doing this tanker. And then the county could order the tanker and have railroad easily deliver it to the site. I don't think they have equipment to be able to move it, a crane and stuff. So you'd have to have L&M. That could be part of the contractor for him to move that pipe around.
Okay. Now, why don't we pursue looking into doing that?
Okay.
Don't you think, Alexis?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with the location, and I'm not well versed enough to say that it would be cheaper for the county to finish off the project. But that would be something to discuss with the bridge crew, and, you know, figure out what we have on the list. Because if it's not that much more expensive to go ahead and have the whole project done, then maybe we need to consider that as well.
Now, could you get a cost estimate on that if they do the whole thing?
Yeah, we can.
Versus if we help out part of it, if we don't save much, I agree with
Right.
Alexis, why should, we might as well just have it all done, bid it out.
Right.
But if we
right.
can save substantial amount by just doing part of it ourselves, then maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, I can put together, a cost estimate.
Okay.
And then usually have like dirt work, well, if the county does the dirt work, they'll save themselves 30,000 or something.
Yeah.
I can put some different.
Okay,
different
good, that'd be good.
Cost estimates.
Now, I have another thought on that. Now, he wants to use that for moving his cows through there,
Right.
which he's done for 100 years. Would there be some opportunity for the farmer to cost share, because he probably will need to redo some of that concrete
Right.
that his cows come on now? That's washed out too.
Right.
Would you allow him to cost share,
Yeah.
or put, as you're building it up, to put some concrete or whatever he needs to do
Yeah,
down there?
if he wants to. I think he poured, according to Michael, he poured the concrete on the south side of that.
Yeah.
It was scouring out.
Yeah.
So we went and did that. If we put our tank in, yeah, we're probably gonna have to saw cut that and remove it. Yeah, if he wants to help out, yeah, that would be,
This would be an opportunity for him to
Yeah.
get it the way he wants it in the
Yeah.
long run, rather than
right.
Yeah, and can you coordinate with him too?
Yeah, I can.
We'll
You
talk
want
to
me
him
I
about
can-
what we're planning on doing and see his input on it too.
Right.
And what Jim just requested.
Yeah, see if
That'd be
he'd be
good.
willing to
That way
help
he's
out.
part of knowing what's going on here.
Okay.
And if he has questions or requests, we can go from there.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And I can maybe these pictures and stuff for Alexis. Leaving you guys a lot of information.
Well, that's okay. We'll just put it all in one thing and I'll just keep it, I'll give it, I don't know, Dawn probably don't wanna mess with it, she has enough paper, I can keep it, what can you do, can we just file it with you, that way you have it, then we come back, if I take it, I'll probably lose it someday. Very good, well, you're a busy guy,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in Lincoln County.
Didn't know we were
Keeps
that
us
busy.
busy.
any more, what else going on?
We have a couple drainage easements on some other structures we're replacing, so I need to track those guys down today. Let's see. 87. So off system 87 is not quite finished yet. The northwest landowner had some concerns with the amount of dirt that was removed. So we're working with them to see if the contractor took too much. So 87 is open as a public, but it's not closed out yet in KDOT. So they just have a few cleanup items to do. So he reached out to me and called me, and we're working with the contractor on getting some of those issues addressed. If you guys
Okay.
hear about anything, let's see. Talk about that one. Let's see, the landfill. I know. Let's see, a couple months ago, we presented a contract to do some work at the landfill. Go out and survey the whole site. I just was bringing it up. I didn't know if you guys need to look at it. We had talked about spacing the work out over a couple of years, because it probably doesn't need to happen ASAP. It's more get everything surveyed, get the plans put together, because KG seems like they're coming out with more and more regs. And so if you can get some plans approved by them and kind of get grandfathered into all that. So I didn't know. I had that here. I don't know if, Jim, if you've seen it, but just I didn't know if you guys had
This
able
was
to look at that.
Just to upgrade Jim on this is, you were wanting to get more cells out there for
Yes.
our landfill,
Yep.
the west of the,
Yeah.
you know, where, right, Jim? And to get that approved and
Right.
authorized, and you have to do a survey and all, and
Right.
get it all set up. You know, also, we dealt with, this is a different issue kind of, it's right up there where the farmer lease, the farm ground there, we redid that lease to give us 4.5 acres what we're gonna use for dirt. Michael was asking for
Oh, yeah.
extra dirt
That's
for
right.
projects in the county. So we approved that too. I don't know if that's none of your involvement, but I just wanted to update you on
So that would just be if the design takes place, we'd okay, don't put a cell in this area if we're gonna be stealing dirt from it.
Yeah,
So
well,
it'd be
that's maybe just something we need to coordinate
Right,
about,
yep.
yeah, because we just
Yep.
signed a new lease to do that.
Right, okay.
So somebody'd have to coordinate, make sure what we're
Yes,
doing on that.
so we'd probably like a copy of that lease, and then we can
We
show where
just-
the,
Dawn has it, we just signed it earlier today. It's on that northwest side of that farmland up there, next to your cells where you have your cells laid
Right.
out, or what
Right.
the projected ones.
Yeah.
But okay, so you need from us then today, do you need something?
I don't need anything today. I was just seeing if you guys had read it, or if we put some like this will be completed in 60 days. We could space that out. It's just up to you guys how
No,
you
you're saying we
proceed.
should get something and give it to appropriate people so we can get some set up so that
Right.
we're grandfathered in if they start changing rules and regs.
Yeah, so we did this. I do this for Clark County in Southwest Kansas, and so we went out and did this with them to get plans approved and everything approved. So when it goes down the road, they've got a proof set. They're not having to abide by new. Some of the things maybe like if you got to close a cell, you got to have so many inches of fill over the top of it. It's got to meet all these requirements. Well, if they approve this, then
So what you would do is get us, set this all up now and
right.
with all those rules, regs, and
Right.
how we're doing it, so when we do that, we get ready to go. We
Yep.
wouldn't have to go back and revisit it.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Because right now I think the design shows 1 or 2 cells. It doesn't show the rest of the lot. So it'd have to be designed before you can dig a new cell or anything like that.
Okay.
So there's this. Yeah, if you have any questions on it or anything, or need any changes, if you want your attorney to look at it, just let me know. So,
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. We
Yep.
got it.
and then,
And we have a lot going on, so keep reminding us if we push this to the back burner, saying, hey, we need to address this.
Right.
Okay, thank you for bringing it up.
Yep.
Because we got a lot of irons in the fire.
right. I think that's pretty much it for today. So,
Okay.
thank you. Sorry it took so long.
No, you
So
had a
ask
lot.
for 2 hours next time.
Well, you had a lot of information.
Yeah.
You had a lot
No,
of.
we appreciate your time.
Yeah. If anything comes up, you guys have my name and number, and
And we'll review all this paperwork you've given us down these bridges and
yeah.
all this stuff. And thank you for
Yeah, thank you.
doing all
You
this.
got it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
But
So I'm looking forward to looking at that list he provided us as a breakdown of structure options, and then taking the Mobile 311 program, looking where we need different structures, what sizes they are, and then trying to plug in some numbers and some ideas.
yeah, sounds good. In other words, take pictures with the 311 of all of our bridges.
Well, let's say in one particular, let's say one particular township, we have 6 different bridges that need addressed. We can take the list he gave us and look at each option and look at the dollar amount for each location.
Yeah.
And then we can prioritize where the money's going to be spent in that specific area and how.
Yeah, sounds good. In other words, we might get
And
well
it'll
organized.
help us.
We
It'll
might
help
be
us look at
organized
our
a little
budget
bit.
more realistically instead of just throwing a number out there and saying, well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that sounds fine, Alexis.
Yeah.
That'd give us a plan, maybe a little more organized plan of attack here on this stuff.
Yeah.
Or coming up with a list of prioritized structures, and we can estimate how much they're going to cost, and then we
Right.
can use it for budgeting and that kind of stuff.
And like she said too, if you're in one area, if you're in the southwest part of the county, there might be 2. If we're over there already with all of our people and all of our
Right.
stuff, well, let's do 2 while we're over there. Don't go from Barnard go from Barnard to Lake Wilson,
Right.
and then down to Westfall and up to Hunter.
Right. Or like,
If we can help it.
yeah, and then like 105, we had a contractor drive pile. Well, if we have 5 projects, they could come and drive the pile for all of them.
Right,
And
right.
then you
Just
don't have to pay
Exactly.
mobilization 5 times.
a little more organization
Right.
just to try to be more efficient. That's all.
Right. And
Save
then,
us money, and that's all. We all should be trying to save the county money because we're all paying
Right.
taxes there.
and I think Michael's been watching steel prices too, because I know we have a standard beam size. And so
Okay.
when the steel prices are low, he may buy in bulk. Help with that too. So,
Okay,
okay, and I'll leave the spreadsheet with
Yeah.
Don.
and I'll give Don this stuff too. Anything else, Alexis, you got for Tanner?
Not for me. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
thanks.
welcome.
Thanks, Tanner.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Liz, again for coming in.
Okay, so do we have any further business to come before the board?
Yes,
Don,
Greg Nye, the employee.
yeah, we do with the one employee, Don said,
It's saying we need an executive session.
I don't know, Don, what do we need to do for that?
hang on.
Okay, she's busy right now with Tanner on updating the computer here, so hang on a minute, Alexis.
Okay.
I think we're done, right?
No.
Well, I
Just
know
give
that
me
they're
this.
done. Whose people are we talking about?
This guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it probably should be. Well, let me just say this. So Gregory and I had said he hadn't got his 6 month or his year increase. He is one that we did an evaluation for at 6 months, that if you remember, they were so strapped for time that they just said, since they'd already done the evaluation, was that good? So I have that current evaluation that you've already based a 6 month raise on. So the question is will you give it his year? And I guess if so, his year is 25 cents, and I'd have to look to see when it is effective. So do you want to review the evaluation that we had 6 months ago?
Well, yeah, on a year, that's a time phase, and I think we ought to go ahead and do that, approve that.
Yeah,
It's not a performance evaluation or merit raise, it's one of the things that we
It's
decide
just-
on longevity. So
yeah.
I would say approve that,
Okay,
based on whatever you got.
let me look and see what his data hire was, just to make sure.
Not curious.
So his date of hire was 6/4, so his raise would have been effective 6/26 of 18, or of 19, for a 25 cent.
I think we should approve that.
Yeah, Alexis, did you hear everything?
I can't quite hear what Dawn's saying since she's so far away.
Don said that, effective, June 26th
It'd be June 26th effective.
June 26th of this year, he would have had a year, would be eligible for his year raise of 25 cents. And Jim recommended giving him that. Should we make a motion to do that? Or do you have any discussion?
In June, you said?
Yeah, it was in June 26th.
This is it.
Yeah, and we already reviewed the evaluation, so yeah, we need to move forward with that.
So
Yeah.
June 26th, that would actually be this paycheck, so.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to, give, Mr. Greg Nye, is that his name, right? The 25 cents an hour yearly increase.
I'll second.
Okay,
It is in motion and seconded to approve the 1 year 25 cent increase. Is there any further discussion?
The only thing is in that motion, I'm just going to say year, not yearly.
year, yeah.
And
Yeah, the completion of 1 year.
His completion of 1 year.
We don't do that every year, so.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
Don edited the motion, I guess I made, to say his, annual, or not annual, but
the year.
the first year,
1 year,
yeah, 1 year raise. And,
Okay,
and
as
I,
long as we all understand that, I will call for a vote. Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. And motion carried.
Okay, thank you.
anything else? Thanks, Tanner, thanks, Liz. Don, do you have anything? I guess we're done then, Alexis.
All right, have a good day.
You too, I guess next Monday.
And
Right.
I would like to just reiterate, maybe, Dawn, if you would mail out that letter we signed, please, from KDOG.
Yes.
Or for KDOG, not from. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks you, Alexis.
All right, I will adjourn until next Monday at 10 a.m.
Okay, goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.